What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you. Happy New Year, if I haven't said it to you already. Welcome again to another Coach's Corner, where here we get to hear from the coach, Coach Bill Marsh, who's going to break down some of the key plays from our last game against the 49ers, and then do some preview of some key plays of what to expect from our third time around against these Los Angeles Rams in our wild card matchup on Saturday. So this is going to be a great show. Can't wait to see what plays coach has got drawn up for us. It's going to be fun to get into the X's and O's and really dive into the details of what the Seahawks are doing, what the Rams are doing, and what we expect to see on Saturday. So I just wanted to say again, welcome everybody for being here. And again, Happy New Year. This is going to be what a fantastic way to start this year. I hope it's been a good one for you so far, and it's been exciting. It's great to be back in studio. I was on vacation in Hawaii with my family for all of last week and during that game, and it's nice to be back here with all the studio and all the fun stuff and everything back to where things are rocking. And so before I get into introducing the coach, I'm excited here today because you might have noticed right here in the corner, Dovin Real Estate, because we've got a sponsor of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Dovin Real Estate is here to help support the show. We just got connected today. Great guy, local Seattle, born and raised guy here in Seattle. He does real estate, and just wanted to give him a quick shout out before we get into it. So I always want to say this because if you ever listen to ESPN, this episode of Coach's Corner brought to you by Dovin Real Estate. All right, so the 12s, if you're interested in buying or selling a home in the greater Seattle area, but you're not sure where to start, well, check out my friend Daniel Dovin of the Daniel Dovin Real Estate, because he's going to hook you up. He was born and raised, as I said, in Seattle. He knows the unique challenges of our local real estate market, so he's going to help you achieve, negotiate, and navigate your real estate goals. And there he is. There's Daniel Dovin, good-looking guy right there. And so with Dovin Real Estate, you could prepare like Russ, compete like Pete, and win like our hometown division champs. So if you're in the market of buying or selling real estate in or around Seattle, just simply click on the link in the description. Or you can call that phone number right there, 206-310-3362, and mention NorbCam. And if you schedule a free consultation with that good-looking guy, Daniel, you'll be entered to win a Cortez Kennedy rookie card, baby. So give him a call. If you or your parents are looking for to buy or sell real estate here in Seattle, go check out Daniel Dovin Real Estate. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it and bring on the coach, Coach Marsh. Coach, welcome back, man. Happy New Year to you.
Hey, Happy New Year to you too, and congratulations on the sponsorship and everything. That is just fantastic, man. I'm excited for you ever since I started about 7 weeks ago. To you've helped me so much evolve and doing some things, but it's just great to see how you've continued to evolve. I think a lot of people think you've been doing this for decades, and while that's your day job, I know you get just as excited when you get to enhance things or something like a sponsorship comes along, which just proves that you're continuing to grow into the great leader you are kind of in this industry all the way around. But very cool. So congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, this is a good match, actually. He's actually been a fan of mine for years, been watching my videos, and he really just wanted to support me and give him a little help promoting his business as well. So I really appreciate the sponsorship with Daniel Dovin Real Estate. So yeah, appreciate that, man. So first, before we get into the X's and O's, I just want to talk a little bit about, there's been so much controversy and discussion about what happened at that Sunday night game between the Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there are a lot of people, it's a very polarizing discussion, because some people believe, oh man, the Philadelphia Eagles are terrible. They threw the game. What the heck were they doing? It jeopardizes the integrity of the game. And then there's the other side saying, well, hey, if the Giants should have just won a couple more games there, or a game, they wouldn't have had to rely on the Eagles, and why should they be complaining to them just because of that? I wanted to kind of get your take on it, just because before we jump into the diagnosis of these plays, just to see your take on this issue, man. So where do you stand on this whole issue? Are the Eagles to blame for ruining the integrity of the game because of how they played Sunday night? What do you think?
Well, first off, I'm really glad you asked the question because I think a lot of people come here to get the information and for us to educate. And for those of you who are just coming on board, Norbert and I don't sit there and plan out every single thing that we're going to do throughout the show. Sometimes things come off the cuff. So you're getting a genuine answer on this one, but probably not one that you'd expect, Norb. First off, you nailed it, right? Like, if you're the Giants, how about not putting yourself in a position where you're counting on another team? Like, that to me is always tough when people are, they're rivals. So to be in a position where now you're rooting for somebody else, especially when you're trying to be one of the teams and, worst teams in history in terms of record to make it. But let's go ahead and put that aside. Let's look at it just from a standpoint of a coach who's in a position where, draft picks, do I play another player? When do I play them? So I look at it more from this standpoint. You never want to tell players not to play hard, right? So if you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to quasi throw a game, better to put in a backup and ask everybody else to play hard, knowing that his very best is only going to be maybe 12 to 15% of your starting quarterback. Now, I think the timing of it was a little odd, to put him in at the end of the game. If you feel like someone deserves reps, which was his quote. So those of you that didn't hear it, his quote after the game was, I absolutely played to win, but unfortunately right afterwards he said, but I felt like this quarterback deserves some reps. Here's the problem though, Norb. Let me give you a little a hypothetical. Let's say it's late in the game, and you're up by 3, and you're playing an opponent, and you don't know the scores maybe of some other games that are going on, and you're playing for the number 1 seed. But you got a guy in your huddle that if he gets an extra reception, he gets to receive a $100,000 bonus. So now all of a sudden you ask your quarterback coach, hey, I got this opportunity, and if he gets a catch, $100,000, quarterback coach says okay, coordinator says okay, quarterback gets in the huddle, and you run that play. He gets the $100,000, but then 3 strides later, he gets nailed. And one of 2 things happens, or both things happen. He fumbles the football, the other team scoops and scores, and now you've lost the game that was important. Or that player gets hurt. Or you go to throw the forward pitch, and someone off the back end who was blitzing drills your quarterback who's, let's say, wearing the number 3. I think you understand the hypothetical that I'm talking about, right? So let me toss it back to you based off of that. If we put ourselves in a position, meaning Seattle, to run a play for a player, when everybody's saying you play to win and J.J. Watt said we should be all trying to win, I would argue that Philadelphia actually did play to win the game with the players in terms of as hard as they could play. Is it hypocritical for us to be saying it out here in Seattle based on what our quarterback chose to do for a player to get a $100,000 bonus, which, again, love that he got the bonus and love that Russ is giving like that. But did we play to win in that situation, or could we have lost that game? And then what would we be saying, right? So I'll give it back to you on that thought.
Well, and you bring up a good point here, and I think we're trying to argue with that whole point is what is this whole thing about playing for the integrity of the game? And if that were the case, that means every team should field the best possible team at any given game, no matter what the circumstance.
Agreed.
And if they don't, they're not playing to support the integrity of the game. If that's the case, the Kansas City Chiefs should be frowned upon because they rested all their starters. And I didn't hear anybody complaining about that because everybody goes, oh, well, they've already locked up the number 1 seed. They shouldn't, risk their players to injury, which I agree on. In fact, I was even thinking, man, Seattle, maybe they shouldn't even, continue to play their starters in our game, knowing that an injury could happen in a game that turns out to be meaningless, and it turned out to be meaningless. And what happened? We got injuries to 3 guys. Most importantly, Jamal Adams, as we all know, our star safety, who we don't know his situation. He may not even be able to play on Saturday. So it can be really looked at as, man, Seattle should not have even played at their fullest integrity of the game because what happened? We just injured 3 of our guys, most importantly, Jamal Adams. So I think my feeling on this is that every situation is unique, and nobody should just be able to say, oh, I would never compromise the integrity of the game, because come on, man, even Joe Judge, if he's in a situation where he's got the number 1 seed locked up and he's got 1 game and it means nothing, you're going to tell me he's going to play all his starters to the fullest and risk an injury? I'd like to hear his press conference when that happens. So I think there's a lot of stuff going on here where it's just circumstantially, it was a perfect mix of a team that had nothing to play for except for draft stock, draft position, I guess a team who desperately needed to win and a team who desperately needed their team to win in order to get in. And if those things weren't all in play, I don't think anybody would have cared. That's why nobody cared about the Kansas City game, because nobody cared if Los Angeles Chargers had won or lost, because it was meaningless. But because it was Sunday night and all these things were going on, that's why it became such a big issue. So my only thing, if that could be redone and I were to give Coach Peterson of the Eagles a bit of advice, I would have said, you know what? Don't say one reason and then follow it up with another. Don't say, oh, we were playing to win, and I thought I'd give our backup quarterback some touches. I would have actually respected more if you said, well, we were playing the game.
Well, you need a spark. I mean, we've seen we're a backup quarterback. I mean, we're going to face one this week and face one last week, right? So there's lots of times where coaches, even though their starting quarterback was playing fantastic, at the same time there was a fourth down and short, and the guy was wide open, and he throws off his back foot, and he short hops it, and now, again, so I can understand where maybe a coach is going to do that, but like you said, you just have to be careful in that press conference, because that, I think, is what really stirred the pot. Yes, people were talking about it, the announcers during the game and such, but yeah, that was a tough one. But again, if we are at the number one, if we're the number nine in the draft, on the draft board, and all of a sudden we realize, man, if we lost, or if we lose, we could get the number 6 draft pick. Well, what if for us, hypothetically, that was the difference between us getting a DK Metcalf or not getting a DK Metcalf, or years ago getting a Russell Wilson or not getting 3 spots up that high in the draft does make a big deal, and it is a business, right? So again, there's the integrity, but the NFL, I think, did a good job of trying to protect it, and I've heard all the pundits speak negatively towards the fact that they flexed the Green Bay game. Right, so they flexed that to the afternoon so that we could all be playing at the same time. Right? Which I love, man. I love that, because if we'd already known, all of a sudden, your show with your dad doesn't take on as much meaning. I probably don't even watch it. I'm out, shopping with the family or something. But now it took on more meaning. So at least for most of the game, we're into it, and then you start to realize it's a stretch. But then, like you said, once we realized that it was a stretch, would we have been upset if all of a sudden we saw our backups going in, and because we want to keep guys safe versus getting them hurt? So that's just that's the risk. And I actually looked back during I guess it was yesterday, late last night, because I was curious, because I know I'm going to have lots of conversations around this with the groups that I hang out with over the next week or so, because it is a big philosophical debate for a coach. We've done it 3 different times. And I don't recall the exact years, but in our history, we've done it 3 different times where we rested our starters in at least the final week of the season. One season we did it actually kind of the final 2 weeks because we had the division by a couple of games. I don't recall there being a whole lot of scuttlebutt around the Seattle area because we were resting them, but that would impact the integrity of the game. So it's tough. I feel bad for Peterson because he is a local guy in terms of those of you who are from here. He's a Ferndale High School guy, which is up north, a couple hours north of Seattle. So I root for him. I think he's a great guy, does some great stuff. But yeah, that's a tough thing for that organization. But you know what? In a few months, when they're drafting 3 spots higher, those fans are going to be excited with whoever they get, and it gives them lots of leverage.
Yeah. And I think this will all fade away very quickly. When the playoffs get going, this will be just a blip. And the Giants fans will be mad all the way till next year. But everybody else will pretty much forget about this and move on from there. But I think that's all I have to say about that.
So my closing statement on this will be: I wanted it's not so much that I want Washington to win. I don't want anybody to win other than Seattle. But I'm a big Rivera fan, and after everything that organization has gone through, and I can honestly say that I'm not a big fan of the owner and some other stuff, and obviously the quarterback had issues, blah, blah, blah. But Rivera, you think about the stuff that guy has gone through, from getting cancer to the name change to the kind of the scandal in the front office. And now they've made the playoffs. I don't really care what the record is. Your job is to make the playoffs and win your division. They can't help the rules just like we didn't when we went 7-9. So to me, I try to look at the positive side of that situation, and to me, that's what it is. And do we really care that much if New York and Philadelphia gets upset with each other? I don't.
Yeah, no, not really. Yeah, no, that's just kind of how that's the way the game's played. Until they change that way that the draft is done, where the worse you finish, the higher you draft. Until they change that, this will always be something that will come up later in the year. I mean, look what happened to the Jets. Jets fans freaking out because they won some games in the end, but what did they do? And because of it, they lost the number 1 pick in Trevor Lawrence. So if you were a diehard Jets fan who thought that he was going to be your savior, well, they just won their way out of that. So should they have not?
It's a debate you could just go on and on and on with. I mean, we're agreeing with this, but I think that's the point, is that we've heard nothing but the negative. And when you really step back and look at it from organization to league-wide to us here in Seattle, what we did on the very day, we did the same type of thing, right? In terms of kind of mess with the integrity.
Bottom line is the Jets or the Giants and Giants fans wouldn't be complaining if they had just won one more game on their own, and then this never would have been an issue. So just go win your games, Doc, on it. All right, so let's get into this. I just want to remind people before we jump into this first play is if you do have a question for the coach, you can join the Discord, and we will try to get as many questions of yours answered. We'll get some of your questions midway through the show and at the end. So the link is pinned at the top. It's also in the description to join the Discord, and that's the way you can ask the coach a question. So, Coach, you ready to jump into the plays?
Yeah, and I'm gonna do a little bit different. And Nora, I didn't talk to you about this, but we're still gonna have just a series of plays. But what I've done is in the past shows, we've done kind of the end zone view and the sideline view. And really this time what I did was either focus on one or the other. And I trimmed it down to where there's going to be some plays where I'm calling it what in the, where it's, and you'll understand when I get into it, where it's what in the, and then something's happening. And I'm going to show maybe 3 or 4 plays in a row that are only just 5-second blips of just back to back to back to back to back. And that will kind of be the semblance of one play. So I actually think we're going to move a little bit quicker through our show because we're a little bit more organized format, and things are just enhancing as we go. You're getting that, with a nice people that are organized and following you and doing some great stuff there. And I'm trying to enhance things to make our show better as well.
All right. I love it. I already love the enhancements from the green screen to the little football behind you. And I can't wait to see what other bells and whistles you've worked into our show here. So let's go for it, man.
All right. Let's do it. So we're going to start with the defense first. And what basically in some of these, I'm even just going to freeze the frame, which is essentially what I'm doing right here. And what I want you to see here is for the most part of the game, people were talking a lot about our defense being just sitting in either a cover 3 or a cover 2, and how we were very vanilla. And by vanilla, what I'm saying is, you're very bland and very basic, and we really were. And when I went back and looked at it from a totality standpoint, we just kind of sat in this very, very basic defense that I'm going to continue to play here a little bit. You can see, we're just in our 4-3, and this is a rolled cover 2. And all that's happened is as they drop back, you can see midway through the play, there's just so many big gaps in here and just a huge underlay. And it's 2nd and 10, but you're given a lot of space here on the under coverage. And then once guys get into these pockets, you have a big pocket right here, and you have a big pocket that's coming open right here, and then you have a big lane down the middle. So they're in a 4-3 cover 2. So for those of you who want to learn some hardcore football, if you're new to the channel, there's 4-3 that we're just doing a basic stunt. We're not really doing a whole lot. And then we just get a quick throw out to the sideline. That's just too easy. And we were doing that a lot throughout this game. So as we go through the next one, we'll see the same type of thing where this vanilla sky coverage, we're getting 4 guys up front, cover 3. You could just see the gaps. They're just tremendous. And I couldn't figure out, Norb, as I was watching the game and they'd show replays even up close, you could see these just massive pockets. Right? This is everything tight end. You got guys releasing out here. He could turn and run any sort of a route short. And instead, what do we get on a something in 10, 2nd and 10 play? Actually, this was a third and 14 play. We get a deep pass that's going to go right past our free safety and our corner. We just can't have that happen. And again, I want you to think from a standpoint of this is, playoff football. But now we're, 17th week of the season. Are we going to allow teams to do this for 3+ quarters? Now, bend, don't break, right? Bend and don't break. But we can't let a guy get behind us. But you can just see the pockets that are there on that. Now, Diggs did not play his best game, which is a real bummer. Because I like to see our players really progressing and playing great. And sometimes good and bad happens when you're looking at a film. Especially, that's why you don't get too emotional right after the game. Oftentimes you'll hear coaches say, I'm going to wait till I see the film. Well, the reason is because a lot of times you'll see something in the game and you think, that's great. And then you go look at it and go, oh, that wasn't as great as I thought. And then sometimes there's the vice versa where you think something's just awful or you want to blame a player and then you go back and realize it wasn't that player or it wasn't, the situation that took place. So here again, we're still basically sitting in this 4 up front, kind of in a rolled cover or 4-3. We got our nickel has come back in here because they've got 5 wide receivers. So we're really playing with more DBs. We're playing with an extra DB that's in there. But again, here's, as they run the play, you know that this is their all everything, and you're always taught, Norb, keep the game in front of you. Whether you're a safety, corners, whatever you have deep. Cover two safeties are back there. If you're just one high, as they say, meaning the free safety is single high, he has to keep the game in front of you. If you're quarters or cover four, that's four, cover three, whatever the number. Those guys have to keep the game in front of them. So when you see this type of situation take place, where a guy is just running a simple post corner to that backside, which is just right here, he's just going to come right into the pocket. And I'm pretty certain that this is a choice route. So a lot of times you'll hear a coach or a quarterback in film study when he's talking say, oh, he has a choice route, or receiver, I had a choice route. It usually means they get to a spot and the quarterback's reading the free safety, especially if you just have a single free safety. Quarterback gets to a spot where he looks at the safety, and now your tight end, who is the receiver back here who's come down to this spot, he has a choice. If there was two safeties here, he's going to go right down the middle to the post, to the pipe, basically, to the goalpost. Or if he sees that safety is really deep, well, that tells him that there's just single high, turn it off, run to the corner. Quarterback sees that. I mean, this is just too easy. And this is what we were doing the first 3 quarters. Just watch up front before I even show this pass again. You'll see that we're not getting much of a rush. Pretty basic, a simple stunt here. And then you'll see him literally just jump in the air. This is when guys are getting frustrated. Because I'll guarantee you, this is not a technique that is coached by the coaching staff. Jump in the air. He's off the ground. He's off the ground by about 2 feet. His waist is right there by his head. If this guy was to push him back, he'd go right on his back. But back to the pass, he could throw it here. He could throw it here. He really could throw it here, even as a backup quarterback. Okay, covered there. This is just something that I didn't understand why we were doing that all game long. And then he makes a great catch because, again, Diggs just didn't play well. You either have to hit the player or know that you're going to cut in front of him and make that play. You cannot have this happen. Fortunately, he fell down. Then he gets back up. And the reason why I'm letting it play to the end here, Norb, is because on this play, the very next play after that, they gained 6 yards instead of 7. That was the difference between them getting a touchdown. But if this play had been a little bit shorter and they'd called the same play, it's a touchdown. So I'm going to run one more in this sequence, and then I'll come out of it and we'll talk for a second on defense. Okay, so what I called here was, this is what I refer to as what in the free safety is going on here.
Now, is this the play right after that Kittle catch or some sequence after?
No, this is following. So there was a couple plays, then there was a penalty, and then it came back up. So again, I'm calling this what in the is going on, right? What in the free safety is going on here, Diggs? Like at some point in the game, I might be calling him off and saying, hey, you have to play better than this, or we have to put someone in. Now, we're not putting someone in to throw the game. We're putting someone in who's playing better, and everybody has an off day. You have an off day. I have an off day. Sometimes you just can't find that zone. Now, he made up for himself later. But my focus tonight is more, what do we need to do to get ready for the playoffs? We have done a lot of fluff throughout the year and all sorts of great guys. But when you get into playoff football, Norb, man, you got to figure out what are the things we absolutely need to fix. And we must fix our free safety play. So here's the last play again. This is, as I called it, what in the free safety is going on here, right? So just watch free safety, and there goes your everything tight end. I mean, he's one of the best tight ends in the league of all time. He's going to be when he's done with his career. Now, the ball doesn't get thrown to him because you have a rookie quarterback or a younger quarterback. So the ball's thrown out here, but holy cow, look, you can just see, and this is the one that I'm going to show from the end zone view, because he's a single high safety. His job is to pick up the mess and make sure, again, if there's a run, just clean up the mess. But if there's a pass, his head has to see people that are crossing his face and either run with it or communicate it, and you're in man-to-man typically down here. And when I say clean up the mess, what I'm referring to is if a running play comes, these guys, linebackers have to go to run. Now, I know he's not a linebacker, but in this position, he's playing like a linebacker, and we all know that he can hit like a linebacker. So I actually like this front that they're doing right here. Really like it. But what happens is, as this play begins to develop, the play fake is when he has to realize there's going to be some mess if he doesn't get the ball, because everybody is committing to the run. They have to respect the run. Linebackers are run first. Adams picked up the mess. He saw that there was somebody going, so he didn't bite. He got the nudge that he needed, just enough. And then he's a spy guy, which is fine. But now look at the trouble we're in, because we allowed a tight end to get away from us. We don't see that he did not block. So Diggs is caught up in the backfield. Your free safety is pass first, right? So you got run first on the front side, linebackers. Pass first on the backside, safeties and corners. Diggs is playing this like a linebacker would. He's seeing a fake run, biting on the fake run. I mean, what's he doing? We cannot do this in the playoffs, right? And this is a team we see all the time. So it's not like this is something new for us. And you can just see the frustration on Kittle's, right? Like, hey, buddy, we were roommates for 4 years at Iowa. How are you not throwing me the ball down here? Which is a fact.
I try to refresh my memory. Did they score a touchdown on this, or did they have to resort to a field goal?
Nope, field goal. So again,
that was a huge miss. That was a huge miss in that sequence.
Huge miss, and the fact that Kittles fell down on the play that he made the spectacular catch. But these are on the same drive. These are within 5 plays of each other that this happened. So
right.
I look at this type of situation, Norb, and I go, okay, as a coach, again, without getting down on our players, because of course we've done a great job of, right now our defense in the last 6 weeks is the number 1 defense in the league, taking all stats combined, and most importantly, our scoring, right? Our defensive scoring number. I mean, it's just amazing where we could. The first show I did with you was about 7 weeks ago, when it was a Norton bash session. We have yet to have any sort of commentary on Ken Norton since then, right? So it's easy to bash him. No one's giving him a lot of credit for what's happened in the last 6 weeks. A lot of it is, I think, personality of Adams, and I think it just took a while to sort and find things out. Diggs is a great player. I love that he's on our team. I love some of the stuff he does. He was just out of sorts, but I also don't think we put ourselves in a great position. So part of it is Norton, maybe. Part of it is, everything falls under Carroll. But I also look at, are we putting these guys in a good position? Maybe Norton wasn't in the zone. And I will speak to a fact that, I spent most of my career as an offensive coordinator, as well as being a head coach. But offensive coordinator, I like coaching on the offensive side of the ball, but obviously I coached on the defensive side of the ball as well. You do get in a zone. And then there's times where you're not in it. And it's not just about, wow, every play's working for me. It's, man, I'm calling a play because I know a play in 4 plays is going to be this play, and in 8 plays I want to do that, so I'm going to run this play now to set up that, and everything's smooth. And same thing defensively. I'm going to disguise that because I want to set up that. And then there's these other times during the game where you just can't find a play on the play sheet that's working for the situation. So tough spot, but I think we'll right the ship on that one. But that to me, of all the things, because we're still keeping them out of the end zone, and we're stuffing the run enough that they're not getting big, huge runs. It's those 3rd and longs that we just don't get off the field, and then we give up big plays or leave a lot of open gaps. So this is the old Seahawks defense, right? The old
bend but don't break.
Bend but don't break. Or even if you want to go back to the Legion of Boom and stuff, we could do that because we had players that could handle that. This is not. We're not great when we get into these 4-3 cover 2s, type of deal, and just sit there. Our best the last few weeks, Norman, you kind of pushed it, right when I was coming on a while back. Blitzing, disguising the blitz, rolling the coverages, do all those different things. The announcer in the 3rd quarter was saying it all. I mean, he said it 3 or 4 times. I don't understand why Seattle's in this basic defense. And once the 49ers got their first touchdown, first comment he said, just as the guy was running the ball, he says, they should be able to do something this time because they haven't got out of that basic defense. And he wasn't lying. When I went and watched the film, he wasn't lying. We were in this for three quarters, and then we changed.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hopefully they will change things up and get to that little more aggressive style that we've been so successful with. But, we got away with some things in that game that we won't be able to get away with higher end quarterbacks, especially when we talk about the number 1 seed and number 2 seed and even the number 6 seed with Tom Brady. So we're going to be facing a lot tougher competition. Not necessarily this Saturday, but it's going to get tougher as we get going.
Hold your horses on that one too, buddy.
Okay.
I think I'm not going to get you down. I'm going to keep Seattle excited, and I believe we're going to win.
All right.
But I went into it lead, but we'll get to that.
Horses held. Okay. So are we at that point now where we take questions from the audience?
No. I'm going to talk a little offense.
Okay. All right. Got it. Okay.
Side of the ball.
All right. Let's do it.
So we're going to hit it, but I think you get us kind of a sense of. I'm going to show a couple of plays, and I'll transition us and get ready. I'm just queuing us up here. So basically what we're going to have here is, again, what I had before, where I'm going to show some plays either from one angle or the other and talk about really the things we need to fix And again, congratulations to DK Metcalf for getting the record. Congratulations to Lockett for getting the record. And again, I think those are situations where I didn't see us forcing the ball to get to him. And I'm going to come back to you, Norbert, just real quick. I didn't see us putting ourselves in a position where we were trying to force ourselves to have those two receive those records. I think we definitely played the game the way it was supposed to be played. And it just happens this was the game that Lockett had double-digit receptions, and Metcalf, barely got the record, but he did get the record. So congratulations to them. So just because I'm not including those specific plays or certain things in here, don't think for a second that I don't recognize that it's awesome, or the fact that we're 12-4. But again, Coach Carroll is always about, hey, next game 1-0, next game 1-0, and that's how I coached. That's how my mentors coached me. I love that mentality. That at the end of the year we'll celebrate 12-4. We'll celebrate all the title. But man, this is about winning the Super Bowl. Yep. At least that's where I'm at, Norb. I know for you it's just about getting to the wild card game, I think.
Yeah,
right. You want to get to the Super Bowl too. You want to get to the Super Bowl too, right?
Yeah, we got to get to the NFC Championship first of all, and that takes we got to get to the first one, the second one, and then that one, and then we can talk about the Super Bowl. But yes, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, so here, what I'm going to show you is basically I'm already halfway back into the drop back for Russ, because this is something that there's two different plays, Norb, that we talked about either last week or 2 weeks ago as something that we either wanted to see or something that one of us felt was a setup maybe for down the road. So this is one of those plays that we both wanted to see. And I'm going to let it run first, and I think you'll be able to figure out exactly what I'm talking about. Just watch Russ. This is a scrambling play. Did you notice anything there? It's rhetorical unless you really think you feel like you got the answer, Norb. Or if anybody in the super chat wants to throw it out there before I give it away. Does Russ do anything here that is different from what we have typically seen him do really for the last couple of years?
Normally these rhetorical questions are really easy, but you got me a little stumped on this one.
All right. Well, here's the deal. Let me take it right back to right where he's at the drop.
Well, Nick LeBeau.
I want you to notice down and distance. Here's
I know what you're going to say. Nick LeBeau nailed it. Nick LeBeau nailed it in the chat.
I can't see the super chat right now.
Nick LeBeau says he didn't slide.
I'm clapping for you, Nick LeBeau. Of course,
you're a sharp one, Nick.
He's like 34 years old, only not even close. And the guy, he's smart. He knows the history of the game, and he pays attention to football. Nick LeBeau, great job.
I think we do have to correct, though, that he has had some runs where he didn't slide within the last two seasons. That's a little bit of a over generalization, but I hear what you're saying.
Here's why I say that, Norb. This is what I said last week I wanted to see. That in a game situation, our leader has to become more fearless than just clapping for guys on the sideline. He loves to run and stick the ball out the extra yard. He's great with the slide. Yes, he does some things, but here's the difference between what I said and maybe how it was interpreted and what I'm meaning. This is not 4th and 10, right? This is an early down situation, and he's trying to get us going. This is, to me, I'm going to get us going with my play, because I'm not, we haven't thrown, completed, something in the end zone. Other things haven't happened, so I'm going to get us charged up with my actual physical play and show that I am a tough quarterback. I am a guy that can play. So when this happened, I gave what my woo plays, right? When something happened, woo, or excitement. I gave a woo when this happened. Like, that was awesome. I was so excited to see Russ get after it and get us another first down, right? Again, something so simple, but to me, yet something so incredibly important. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us back to, reverse it this way. This is something that we talked about a little while back, 2 weeks ago. As something that we thought might be a setup for something later. So what we have here is, again, team that we're facing this week. We ran it last week, meaning the game before last. Basically what we have here is Russ doing a play fake, sprint out to the left. And when we spoke about this play, we really talked about how we had such a brilliant set of tight ends and how they could go out for a pass and then realize that Russ is going to run the football. And next thing you know, they're walling it off. But if you recall, if you look at the screen, here's another question for maybe the super chat or those who have followed us and remember, because I only talked about 4 plays in this game when we were talking about the review of this game. And this was one of them. And I said, something based on this frame you're looking at right now is something that maybe we're setting up to run later. And Norb, you actually got it correct. And you actually said it was but we usually run it to a different player. It's this right here.
Right.
Right? We talked about how this might be a play. Now, Russ is going to his left, so who's going to pay attention to it? But again, the slot receiver goes across the other direction against the grain. You'd think that he's probably blocking or doing something, so no one pays attention to him, and then he kind of slips out.
Yeah,
and now we look
open.
at that wide open. And then you right afterwards when I called it, and I said in this game, I bet we're going to come back to it at some point in the playoffs. And this will be a play because we've done it. And you immediately came to the play that we ran just in the game. Okay. Now, the only difference is no play action, which I think we were originally going to have, except for Russ changed up the protection scheme because he starts back there. If he moves him to the left, meaning the running back, if he had moved our running back to the left, we're going to get a play fake. And then when we moved him to the right, I actually thought, okay, if we actually get a true play fake to the right, this is going to be setting up beautifully for what I think is going to happen, which is what I thought we would get with the play fake. Now, this is actually a designed half rollout. He doesn't do a true half rollout in under the center, would be taking the snap and really going 45 to your first three steps are at a 45-degree angle. You're trying to get about 7 to 8 yards depth, and then you either set at the top of the crown, as we call it, or you keep running, come forward, and then you're throwing to these guys that are dragging across. Metcalf's dragging across. Moore's going to do something. So these two guys are going to try to get this whole defense going this direction. But here's our guy right here. Same play we just kind of saw. If I let it play just regular speed, watch Lockett come against the grain. Everybody's going there, half rollout, coming back the other direction. And the timing these guys have, Norb, it is unreal. How many times we have seen Russell drop this ball in perfectly and Lockett somehow get his feet tapped in there. He's one of the best tap dancing receivers. You kind of have to go back to like the Lynn Swann era. That's kind of really where it started when people really recognized, guys that could tiptoe and do those type of things.
Yeah, I was a little nervous because I was a little nervous on that because he did tap the toes, but he was the ball didn't land snugly in his hands. Was concerned he didn't have possession, but obviously he did. But I was a little nervous at first when he got that ball.
Okay, so funny you bring that up, Norb, because I actually a play that I didn't include in here, but that I was going to if I have it, I can reinsert it real quick during the calls. But there were two different times in the game where when they showed a quick review of the play, I was like, are his gloves falling off, or does he have extra long? Like, what's going on with Lockett's hands, his gloves? And then when I went to the review of these films that we get to go through, his touchdown catch in the back of the end zone, when he catches the ball, and he does a great job. He gets the ball, it circles up, catches it. I'm not kidding you. It looks like half of his glove has come off, and he comes up all excited, but the top of his fingers are just flopping back and forth. So I don't know if he put on the wrong set of gloves or
I did not notice that. Well, interesting.
That's a great eye by you to recognize. Again, sometimes it's the ball, sometimes other things, but
there you are.
A lot of teams run it. Let me go back to here. There we go. As we get it back into here, again, you can see it, the little design half roll out there with Russ. And the reason why he doesn't have to sprint so far to the right is because he already has the depth. So he just takes a few little steps backwards. As soon as he gets the snap, you'll see him go back and then a little bit to the right, which is what I love about it is it sets up his block also. Again, intentional half sprint out, but just getting over here sets up the nice block here when a guy is blitzing. And now, again, you got tight end going here, Metcalf's going across, Moore's going to plant, boom. And, this is great right here. So you can see coverage is fantastic, but our guy gets across. But this is still a great pass. You have to throw that perfectly to get that in there. So just really, really nice of a setup of another play to see what's.
Yeah, that was key. That was fourth down too. We had to have that one. That was the pivotal game point right there.
No doubt about it. Now these next couple plays, I'm calling what in the DK is going on here, right? Like what in the Russ to DK is happening. And I love DK, but this is more. I'd say this is more Russ, and I don't want people to think that I get on. Russ for too much stuff or DK for too much stuff, but I come with a coach's eye, and I love so much of what Russ does. I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the league, to be honest with you, because I love what he does, especially at the end of games. And I wouldn't trade DK, right? But I want to see these guys get better. And I'm breaking this down as if I was coaching this, what would I be saying right now today that we have to improve on? But then there's certain things that you can't really coach up. Decision-making you have to trust, right? Decision making is a trust and rust thing, right? That's what people constantly say. Well, this play in the game, I was stunned when it happened, and I'm actually going to show it from this angle because it's better for you instead of staying with the first one. Here, the thing I struggle with is there were a handful of times in the game that I felt like Russ was already preset on who he's going to throw to, and then he did. Like you could just tell based on where a guy was aligned, and as soon as he's dropping back, first thing I look at is the line, and you know that. I look at the line to see if it's run or pass. That's the instant eye. And then I immediately kind of try to see if I can see Russ's head if I see that it's a pass, just to see if his helmet's looking off or what have you. And lately I feel like there's a little bit of an emphasis maybe to try to get it to lock it too much when he should just throw the ball away or look at some other options. Now, I'm not in the headset. I don't know if coach is saying, hey, on this play, throw it to lock it. Rare is that the occasion. I mean, you do that at high school and college level where you say, no matter what, you're throwing to this guy because he's just beating his guy. But this right here.
Now, is that Lockett or DK? He threw to DK. Okay, but you were mentioning Lockett earlier. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm saying whether he's throwing to Lockett and or DK, like we have a great slate of tight ends. We have running backs that can catch out of the backfield. But all of a sudden, Lockett gets 12 catches in the game. And then another game, it's Metcalf getting 10 or 12 catches. And the games that we play our best, Norb, and I've brought it up each time, are the games where we have 7, 8, or 9 wide receivers that have anywhere from 1 to 5 catches.
Right.
That to me is our best slated game because then it's like, who do you cover, right? Mm-hmm. We get in these kind of forced situations. And again, you just watch the end of this play here. I mean, you got to wonder what is he seeing that he makes this pass? Not so much that he makes the pass, because I get that it's instantaneous. He does a good job. He's down the field trying to freeze it. And now he comes, he sets. But he's able to see that for a while. It's not a grab, step, throw, right? It's not in your hands, out of your hands, which we have a lot of those passes. This is, he gets the ball, and then he frames himself. You could see, I mean, this is like QB 101. QB 101 is, as you've heard me say before, set your back foot, and wherever you set your back foot, your front foot goes at 90 degrees, and now you're making a nice L shape with your feet. Your front shoulder is zooming in like a camera. So I'm going to come back to you real quick, just so you can see it. I'm a lefty, so if I go to throw, I'm going to plant my feet, do my 90 degrees. But my front shoulder, we would teach zoom in like your camera frame. Zoom in, and then once you finish, your other shoulder takes a picture of the throw. Now, what's great with Russ is he actually talks to the ball as well when he throws it, which is a story I'll save for another day. But again, this is picture perfect, right? This is what you would, if you were watching Russ at a clinic, he'd be telling you to do this type of a thing as he moves along. But the deal is,
and let me ask you something here in your analysis, because you're putting a lot of the blame here on Wilson. But I argue, as I saw this play too, I thought, did DK do enough to try to fight for the ball? Use that big body to try to wall off the defender. That was something I was thinking when I saw this play, but I'm wondering what your take was.
So here's the thing. Let me come back here. So I'm gonna let you just watch it, which I think this is the fun part as this is evolving, right? I just want you to watch his get off, his play, and again, we know that Metcalf, he's going to be a fantastic receiver. He's going to be in the great category. Right now, I think he is above average, and I'm sure the super chat's going to bash me on it. But if you just go away from his big catches and you go to how he blocks, the 75% of the time he has to block, the route running, the catching, again, he's able to do things because he's just special as a specimen. But what's going to happen when he's not playing at 50% of his ability? And it's because, again, I know about his history and his story and everything else. I'm saying I am so excited for the potential of this guy. But you're only as good as you get into that potential. So as you watch him just in regular speed run the play, outside break, but what I don't like is I don't like what the route is. Not in terms of how he ran it, in terms of what the actual route is supposed to be. Because typically, if you're going to take an outside break, then you're going to usually make an outside break to the outside.
Shouldn't that be a back shoulder throw or something? At least give him a chance to use his body to shield out the defender? Yeah,
and it's pretty close to that. I mean, based on where he broke, so he's breaking here, at the roughly 37-yard line, ball's coming back towards the 34, 35. It is back shoulder, but Russ takes a lot of time on this. Again, watch when he sets. Like, a lot of times that ball's already out. He's waiting. He kind of waited to make sure that he got into the break. But again, if he's going to turn inside, I'd rather see either he goes to the inside shoulder, which is typically what you teach. You typically teach that if you're going to break to the inside, you better get leverage to the inside of this DB somehow, or at least be in a position where when you throttle down, you can do the throw off, because nobody's gonna call what he did. And unfortunately, it's hard to see here, and you can't see it in the end zone view. Metcalf does a pretty good job of what you teach, which is, and you can barely see it. And if
getting his arm around there,
eventually zooming in, what you teach is left shoulder. As your receiver, you're running, and now you got the DB to your inside. Russ is back there throwing. When I go to break, if I didn't get the leverage I needed and I start to settle, I want to make sure that DB gets to my front side of my shoulder, and then I'm going to swing as hard as I can and try to get his shoulder pads. We teach, call of the shoulder, or I'm sorry, the curve of the shoulder. Try to get that part of the shoulder pad up into his ear hole. Not literally, but that's what you're trying to push it at that angle to get him off balance. So you can see right here, hopefully, depending on what you're looking at, that his left hand is under his shoulder.
Pull the game up there.
Oh, I'm sorry. The left palm is right at his shoulder, and he's pushing it up. But the DB also does a good job. But again, I look at the timing of ball should ideally be halfway in the air. Again, I just don't like the route, not the route running, just the route. So I just don't like it at all. I don't like the rush through it. He saw that the coverage is tight, and Metcalf just isn't polished enough to make those type of breaks or see those type of things. So again, I'm not sure what he saw pre-snap, but again, it's one of those things that happens.
I see a wide open tight end there in the middle of the field too, by the way. I don't know if that was an option.
We go. Yep, exactly. So again, this stays in the what and the rust to DK is going on here, right? And again, I say it because I love the combo, but I actually love the locket, Hollister, and some of those other combinations better in these type of situations. So now we're down there, and we have, and usually I don't go by names, but here what we have Lockett, Metcalf, Moore, right? So I mean, this is our trio. And
remind me what point of the game this is.
So this is late. This is later in the play was when Lockett's going to get his touchdown.
Oh, okay.
It's back at the end zone touchdown. So this is the same drive that we're moving down there. So late, but I'm not going to show the touchdown that Lockett gets. So here's what you're going to get. I'm just going to show the play first, so you can just get a sense of the play itself. Got trips to the left, tight trips. Okay, boom, 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 boom. I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Lockett play in here. But here's what I wanted to show from the get-go. First, a fun thing to watch, to learn as a fan who's watching. Just watch over here on the tight end if you want to learn how guys know who to block. Did you see the tap?
Yeah,
again,
tap his right butt.
Yeah, he's tapping because he's checking to see. That's a cue. Now, I don't know exactly what the signal is, but he's telling his running back, I'm either staying inside. I know on this play what he's doing, but it doesn't mean that's what the cue signal means. But he's communicating to the running back, I've got a bob, meaning big on big block. I've got a bend, meaning back, you have the end. That's what a bend block is. So bob, if you're a bob block, that's back on backer. If you're a bend, that's back on the end in a playbook. But now they have a tapping thing, so he's communicating that I've either got this guy, or I'm going to come down here and do this, or I'm not doing anything. I'm going out for the pass because it is a pass. So just in terms of learning the game, he chose to stay. He's staying in and blocking, and he communicated, I'm going to block this side. You got to pick up this guy, which they do. So good protection, but look at the eyes, and I want to come back to Moore. Now, remind me what happened at the end of the game. Do you remember?
Yeah, they manufactured a little toss thing around so they can give him $100,000 with an additional reception when it should have been a kneel down victory formation.
It was very hard for me not to think about that when I came back to this play and a handful of others I could have pulled up, because I mean, Moore goes all the way. He goes 59 minutes before he gets a catch that he needs, right? And yet there are plenty of times in a game where I saw this. I want you to just watch Moore. Man, that sure is a nice route, and that sure is wide open, especially when you know that 3 or 4 guys are going to cover our best 2 guys in this position, because they're the guys that are he's catching a lot of balls. He's the freak of nature. Why wouldn't we throw to these guys? And yet here's the guy who's wide open, and he's right in his vision. And yet he's not looking for him because he's waiting for Metcalf to complete his route, because he's certainly not looking at Lockett right now either. He's looking here. He's waiting for Metcalf. He is absolutely glued in because he's not here. He'd throw this ball. Yes, there's big guys here. I don't want to hear that Russ is too short. He's a veteran. He's looking to see if Metcalf is going to get to the spot. And I mean, look at this. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that he's not open. I mean, if I could only show Russ one play in terms of, hey, here's the one play you did awesome where you ran over the guy, you got us the first down. Here's the play we can't have, Russ. We can't have you sitting back there when it's goal to go, big situation, and we see that we got this type of coverage, and we had a guy who was wide open early on. Take the sure thing. Slants, hitches, outs. I mean, it's just, man, just frustrating. That is a world of protection he received from our line. I mean, unheralded group right now. Offensive line, doing a very good job. Great protection. You know, I love my guy, our tight ends. Gets a great chop block over here. That is a lot of time. You don't see quarterbacks bouncing 3 times in goal-to-go situations. Now, does he throw a great pass, complete it? I actually have it with the glove piece right here. Can't really see it as well because he's getting up and cheering and stuff. But that is just, again, Norb, kind of a hard piece to see.
And on that play, the David Moore was open initially. Now, if he waits too long, that linebacker's sitting in the middle. Then he kind of runs into traffic there. But you're saying if he throws it immediately, like right away on a slant, then he's in for the touchdown, right?
Yeah, because when you're inside the 10-yard line, you're not running too many plays other than maybe a play action or maybe just shotgun 3-step drop, which puts you at 7-step drop positioning. So again, if I'm getting the ball right at the shotgun, turning and throwing, that's where a 3-step drop would be. If I get the ball and I take 1 step out of shotgun, that's where your traditional 5-step would be. If I take it out of shotgun, I go 3 steps, that's where your 7-step would be. All those are fine. Get it throw. Get it 1-step throw. Get it 3-step and throw. Get it play action and throw. What nobody designs is get back and bounce 3 times. That's what you do in the middle of the field. 7-step drop, protection schemes made for that. Again, protection was phenomenal for what Russ did, but he should just be looking that way. And the read on that quick of a play really is usually a slant. In that specific play, you'd look for the hot slant. If that hot slant is not there, that means that DB has come up hard. Now that you know you have one-on-one, that's where you put the lob up there and teach DK to be Larry Fitzgerald and go after the ball, and you hope he's going to win every 50-50 ball out there. Lockett's covered. Tight end, obviously in the play design, was told to stay in. So Russ never looks to his right. He knows there's no receiver there. It's just those 3.
Right.
Slant. Lockett's not there because safety. Boom. I mean, and Russ is a genius, right? So he didn't see the slant. He didn't see that. Okay, just go ahead and throw it away or tuck and run or what have you. So those are the things I get a concern because we've seen those quite a few times. And in this game, we saw it for 3 quarters. And then Russ got hot and he did some great things. Why? Because we started speeding things up and all the stuff that you and I love, when those things happen.
Yeah.
So same thing here. A couple quick ones. We'll go to the calls.
Okay.
So what we have here is
kind of the same situation. Pull the play up.
Sorry.
And if you could set it up too, just so we know what we're looking at.
Yeah. So basically what we're going to have here is it's still the same situation of kind of, what in the Russ to anybody is happening here. Because I just want to see him make quicker decisions. I mean, there's just, for some reason, the last few weeks, he's just, again, it's not that he's impatient, which I love the fact that he's not getting rid of it so quick, which is typically the case with inexperienced quarterbacks. Like, they get it and, they just get rid of it. At the same time, they're holding it a little bit too long. So this is going to be a Lockett where Russ waits for a while, and then he completes it to Lockett down the sideline, and you see receivers that are going to get the ball. Who's getting the ball here? Not sure who's getting the ball. So guys are moving, coming across. He's looking. Who do I get it? And now he's throwing it to Lockett here on the sideline. But again, the feeling that I had while he was waiting, when I'm watching it live on Sunday afternoon, is he just waiting for Metcalf to get open? Again, that's hypothetical, and I don't think that that's the case. He's just too much of a veteran. But I look at the routes. I mean, wide open. I mean, there's guys that are wide open. So why are we not? Well, look where his helmet is. Look at his helmet. He's looking right here, and he's actually open to a degree. But now, the protection's great. Now he's running again. I mean, you watch Lockett. Lockett's just standing there, and very few times have I seen Lockett do what he just did.
Yeah, put his head. I'm open.
Yeah, because you know why, Norb? Because you teach receivers never to do that. You teach them never to put your hand. You don't call attention to yourself, right? It's kind of like my palms up philosophy, right? Like you never go palms up, meaning I don't know. Well, same thing with putting your hands in the air, right? the quarterback's going to see you whether you have your hands up or not.
Hey, real quick, thank you to Raspy Dog for joining the NORBFAM. Appreciate it.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm going to move off of there and finish on two positive ones, which is going to be our guy. And this is a play we've run multiple times. The only thing is this is a running play. And this is, I'm always going to give credits to our tight ends. And my belief for anybody who's new to NorbCam and the NORBFAM, you wouldn't be new to NorbFam, but you'd be new to NorbCam. I love tight ends, and I think tight ends are the most underrated position in all of sports. If you have a great tight end or even a decent slate of tight ends, if you know how to utilize them, which I think the Seahawks do an exceptional job of, there's a lot of great things. But they have to be great blockers first. They can be great catchers, but all of your phenomenal tight ends are great blockers. So this is like, what in the not going to Pro Bowl is going on here? Because there's our boy Hollister, right? Here it is. He comes in motion. We've seen this play multiple times, but the difference, Norb, is when we've seen it before, the defensive end usually went way up the field. You went too far up the field. Hollister would curl around and get the next guy, and that's when we were getting big runs. We saw it 2 times in the last few weeks, even though he's done it multiple times. Here, we actually get to see the play as it's designed on this nice counter, right? So the play looks like it's going to the left. The O-line's moving to the left. It makes the linebackers go to their right. This defensive end does what he's supposed to do. First time we've seen in a few weeks where an NFL tight end or NFL defensive end
stays home, right?
Yeah, for the most part, you teach don't go more than 2 yards up the field on a play that's going our way, because that puts him in a position where he could handle the bootleg, he can handle the counter, and his only job is to squeeze it down and hope that there's linebackers or D-line that can come inside. So his job's not to tackle it. However, we have such a great group of blocking linebackers, and Hollister is just so dang good at this. Like, he takes pride in this because you can see great base with his feet, drives, and his helmet is on the correct side. His hat is on the left side, which is all you need to wall the guy off. And an NFL running back, that's all he wants to see is this nice hole here. We've got tight end clearing out, receiver that's trying to get a block down the field. And again, safety comes up and make the play. And I tell you what, Norb, if you said every single play, the free safety is the guy who's going to make the tackle, you're going to take that 100% of the time. Because here's the cornerback there. So that gets me excited on, when I see great running, great blocking. And this is really what opened things up for us in a big time way, was us being able to have that type of piece. So before we go to the calls, I got to finish with the special teams, because I love special teams. Mm-hmm. Love our special teams. And again, what in the not going to Pro Bowl that we have going on is watch our punter and just enjoy it.
Oh, I know this.
Just watch our punter. I mean, it is unreal. And boom! I mean, I don't know how many people watch Pat McAfee. The Pat McAfee show. Some people don't go and watch him. You ever watch him, Norb, or know who Pat McAfee is?
Yeah, I've seen him a few times, yep.
Okay. He is probably the hardest hitting punter in the history of the NFL. I mean, he prided himself, and he has a great play that I've seen you've seen it hundreds of times. They just drills guys. I don't know what it is with Dixon and with both our guys, right? With Myers, because we saw Myers make a great play earlier too. Because what's crazy about this play, Norb, is a guy who, when I coached, and this is a guy who followed us for years, filming us and doing great highlight videos and everything else. We literally spent a third of our practice on special teams. Spring ball, summer ball, fall ball, everywhere I've ever coached. 33% of all practices and all meetings were on special teams. Is this a coaching thing? I don't know. Is it a punter thing? I don't know. But whatever it is, there's something that he saw that he is on full red alert. Get down there and make this play. Usually you see a punter sprint the first 10 yards and then throttle down, and he's safety left. Somebody's going to be safety right, like the personal protector. And then everybody else tries to do an umbrella. They call it an umbrella, where you really want this guy, no matter where he is, someone's containing it, and you try to force him inside. But for whatever reason, either our flyer or our left end or somebody was told, hey, go ahead and try to tackle this guy as hard as you can. And if you olay him, meaning olay, you miss him, that's fine. We're going to just try to drill this guy. But that means our punter has to go down and make a play. Nope, nobody does that, though. Nobody tells their punter, hey, our scheme is for you to go down and be the contain guy. So he saw, just watch the high knees. It's awesome. I'm just going to let it play all the way to the tackle. He is high knees, and he is taking the right angle, and then boom, done. It is flat out awesome. which is why I'm going to let you enjoy it this final time from this side right here. Okay? And then we'll go to our phone calls. But again, the protection's there. 99 gets out. He's the contained guy out here. He's supposed to be contained. He should keep it outside. But he doesn't. And then here we go. Boom, last time. I mean, they are going to get so jacked up in the film room. If they showed it yesterday when they had their team meeting. But man, Norb, when I saw that, I was like, holy cow, that's the guy who's going to get us excited.
Doesn't that make you nervous, though, the punter making the tackle? What if Michael Dickson takes a bad hit and tweaks a knee or an ankle or something? All of a sudden, his only thing he could do is he's now unavailable because he puts himself at risk. Is there ever a thought that the kickers shouldn't do that, knowing that? Because I remember there are times when Stephen Hauschka and John Ryan, bless his heart, because he's done so many great things. How many times did John Ryan end up with bloody noses and all messed up when he decided to run or when he made a tackle? He's always getting beat up. So that always makes me nervous when the kickers are making plays like that, just because they got one job and they're doing so good at it. I'd hate to see them get hurt in the process. But when it works out, I love it.
Yeah, so my theory on that is this, is you have to look at the punter and kicker as two different things. And every special teams is an offensive or a defensive special teams. So when you're in a kicking position, kicking or punting, you send it to the other team, you now are a defensive mentality. You look for even the positions you put out there. For me and for a lot of coaches, even at the highest level, they'll actually put defensive positions out there for the punt team, defensive positions out there for the kickoff team. Well, your kicker, I don't want to see kickers going down and making tackles because they bring points to the table. Hard to make a punter or have someone else become a kicker, which we learned when Janikowski pulled his hamstring a few years back in the Dallas playoff. Flip side, you can find guys that can punt the ball or you can go for it. There's other things you can do. No, you don't want to necessarily have your punter making the tackle, but if you have to have one of the two that goes after and makes it happen, your punter can. And I like guys making plays, and I would rather see a guy make that tackle than have a guy cut back on us, and now they've scored a touchdown. I love that we have two of the most athletic guys I have ever seen play sans Efren Herrera in the lore of Seahawks special teams, right? And
you're absolutely right.
I say that. But how these guys didn't make it to the Pro Bowl, Norb,
it's crazy.
It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Hopefully they'll make the AP and that all pro. And that's what really matters. That's the one that matters anyway. But Lena Dahl says in the super chat, she says, Norb, you forget that Dixon comes from the land of Australia. Aussie rules and rugby, you need to watch both. Awesome. So that's true. These guys are tough, and particularly Michael Dickson. Remember that play when he ran the fake against Detroit, an ill-advised punter running around the right edge? Should never have done it, but I love the fact that he pulled it off and got the first down.
Yeah, down his own end.
He kind of does his own thing, so it's pretty awesome that we got these two guys.
And that's the culture of our team too. And I heard Dunlap was talking about it in his post-game conference. He was just saying how the culture here is about winning. That we go after it and we do things, and it's just different. And it's from top to bottom, from the organizational, office to the people who are selling tickets to inside. Like there's just a feeling. So I think even for the punters and kickers, again, I think that there's a flavor that they know they make a play, it's going to be shown in front of the whole team, and they're going to make a big deal out of it. And Pete Carroll's going to go crazy, and so I just having been in that facility, having been around some of those people, having had a mentor who's coached and played for them. That's what I love about us, that we have this we have a way to create momentum that a lot of teams can't find. And it's hard to find momentum. You have to create it through action. Right. And we saw it with Wilson. We saw it here. So yeah, we want to take some calls.
Let's take some calls. Let's do it. So we're going to go Seahawks for life. Let's go. So everybody who's in the stream game day party, be ready to answer, take some calls. We'll probably take about 4 of them here. We're doing quick. We got one question each. All right, so.
Quick. We got one call.
All right, here we go. Seahawks for life. What's your question for Coach Marsh?
All right, Seahawks for life. What's your question for Coach Marsh?
You might want to mute your YouTube there.
I got a lot of echo there.
Yeah, it is. All right, that's a little bit too much echo. You got to be. You guys got to be ready to turn that volume down. Let's go to BJ. BJ, you're on with Coach Marsh. You got a question?
Hello.
Hey, BJ.
Hi.
BJ.
Yeah. Hi. So I have a question, and so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh. Oh, how big do you think the injuries could be, or like
how might that hurt us?
And we have this rookie defensive lineman. We drafted in the second round. He's been injured for the year. Apparently had a surgery over the off season. And how big of an impact do you think he could make in the playoffs if he plays?
Well, the tough thing is anytime someone comes off an injury, and appreciate you calling and asking the question. You have to look at, are they physically ready to play? A guy can be in great condition, right? He's coming back and he's doing all the running, he's doing all the things that he needs to do. But they talk about all the time, being in game condition and game speed, and there's just something different about it. And if any of you have done sports, I assume you've probably done sports. I think it was BJ that was calling. The difference between I run and I do conditioning, and then I go out there and I play, and all of a sudden my lungs are burning a little bit, and because I'm pushing myself even harder. If guys aren't ready to play, you don't want to necessarily risk them maybe for the following year. So I think we do an exceptional job of bringing back guys at the right time, and also knowing when to maybe wait a little bit longer. Because if you look at the players who have come back for us this year during the course of inside the season, what a difference they've made when they came back. A lot of times we see teams where a guy comes back, they rush him back too early, and he plays a quarter, half a game, or maybe the full game, and then he's out another couple of weeks and he's back on the PUP or the physically unable to perform list or what have you. So I would rather guys take their time, and if they're not ready, let's have them just come back next year. So I don't know that he specifically can be a difference maker, or players that come back, who've been out for more than 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Darrell Taylor, our defensive end that hasn't played all season. So, I'm kind of ruling him out. If he's not ready to go at this point, it's probably not going to happen this year. All right, let's go to the next one's just a series of numbers. There's no name on it, but let's see if he's ready to go. You're on with the NorbCam and Coach Marsh. Are you there? Anybody there with the numbers? 1, 2, 7, 3, 1. Okay, I guess they're not. Let's go to the next one here. Let's go to Adorites. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this name. Let's see if we're ready to go. Adorites. You're on. Are you there?
Hello, Norb.
Yes, you're on with myself and Coach Marsh. You got a question for the coach?
Yeah, so do you think that Russell Wilson can improve on his awareness? You showed us how Tyler Lockett was wide open.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and here's why. If you look at all the times at the end of a game when we really need points, he's our guy. I mean, who else do you want? There's maybe 2 other quarterbacks in the league that are both up for MVP that you might want, but the guy that we have is the winningest quarterback since he arrived in the league. So that's why I think I always trust that he's going to be okay, that he's going to come through. It's almost like as long as we're close, and 99% of the time it seems like we're close in these games, I feel like he's willing to kind of take some chances, almost like they used to talk about Deion Sanders. For those of you, hopefully most of you remember Neon Deion Sanders. He brought in the term lockdown corner, but he also brought in the concept of baiting guys into thinking they're more open than they are. Meaning he would let even a Jerry Rice get 3 strides ahead of him because he knew his speed was so good he could catch back up. Same thing with Russ. Sometimes I feel like in games, he's not trying to lose. He's not trying to play poorly. But he knows that he has a little bit of give. Defense is playing great. We have the best special teams around. And he knows that, hey, in the fourth quarter, I'm just going to turn it on and off we go. And he doesn't. So, yeah, I think he's going to be okay. I just wish that there were those hands. If he does that and he throws it away and where it's incomplete, it's fine. It's that one like he threw to the sideline to Metcalf that could have been a pick 6. And the other ones we've seen in other games that we lost, those are the ones that concern me. But so far, he's kind of a bend but don't break quarterback. So good question. But yeah, I think he's just fine.
All right, let's take one more from Arav. And whatever questions we don't get to, we'll do at the end of the show here. So, Arav, you're on with NorbCam and Coach Marsh. Arav, you there? Okay, not there. Let's try one more here before we go to the next play. Let's go to Dylan Tate. Dylan Tate 35. Dylan, you there?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
35.
All right. So I had a question.
Can hear you.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Do you think we can be as well as we've been doing these last couple of weeks in the postseason?
Repeat the question. We're a little muffled there. Can you repeat that one more time?
I think it sounds like you said I do. I think we can do just as well as we have been in the postseason.
Oh,
go ahead and repeat just to make sure.
Yeah, can we still keep up what we doing? Because I want to celebrate a Super Bowl win this year, so you know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I tell you what, if you want to really celebrate one, big time style, make sure you are following, NorbCam and his dad when they're, doing their live cast of the Super Bowl. But with that, you have to be hot and be trending, which is kind of the phrase now, right? And I think the Hawks are trending in the right direction. I mean, you look at the last handful of games, everything is moving along at the pace that I would like to see it. Defense, playing stellar. Special teams, playing stellar. Offense, doing enough to win. Russ, doing exactly what I personally like. Now, I know everybody likes different things out of Russ. They love 300-yard games and 5 touchdowns and all that other stuff. I like the shorter, lower scored games. Shorter meaning they move along quicker because we're running the ball more and they're running the ball more than games that are high tempo. To where there's teams that back into the playoffs. There's teams that aren't doing hot. I think there's 2 teams that are trending like we are. The rest are not. So I really like our chances, provided we fix some of these kind of major issues, which we will. I think we will. And I like our mapped road. I like who we're facing this week. I like who we would potentially face down the road. So I think we have a great shot in a year where nobody's been. Nobody's 16, 15-1, 14-2 type of deal. It's really crushing it.
All right. Great question. And I love the confidence. So, Coach, let's go ahead and why don't you start queuing up the plays. Now we're going to break down the Rams here. But while you're doing that, before you start.
You want plays or bonus? Either one.
The bonus. That's right. Well, we'll start with the bonus and then jump into LA. But before you do that, I got to address Alina's got another super chat here, and she says, Coach and Norb, were you able to see the video of Steve Largent congratulating DK wearing DK's jersey? That was awesome, she says.
Well, Elena, I got something for you. Queued up.
Look at this.
As we speak. And Elena, I do not even talk to you, and I've never spoken with you. I have no idea that you're going to super chat a comment like that or anything. But it's actually the first thing. Those of you who watch us, or maybe new to the show, we actually do a bonus segment that I typically will put at the end. Something I would call it kind of the prehistoric era based on our roundtable. But it's just something that's a little different, but is connected to the Seahawks. I have a couple quick things I'm going to show you. But here was his video, and I'm not going to show the video. Here's what I thought was classic, though. Okay, first, it's Steve Largent. One of the he's on the Mount Rushmore of Seattle Seahawks football, right? He does this great video. Hey, DK, congratulations. Super happy for you. Look at the jersey that he's wearing. And I think I cut it a little early, but number 14. He's wearing a DK Metcalf jersey when he gives the message. I mean, how cool is that? However, he didn't forget to remind DK, you may have my record, but you're still not on a Wheaties box. You're still not the NFL Man of the Year. Your name's still not on a Coca-Cola bottle. You still don't have the AFC Player of the Year award. I mean, I just think it's classic, right? Like, he's the most humble guy around, but it's still like, yeah, you got my record, but let me just frame myself in the corner where I have this. I love the guy, man. That to me was just awesome. But what he said to DK is great, and the classiness. I mean, he's the classiest guy in Seahawks sports lore, Seattle sports lore, really. So
well, and then on top of that, the one thing too that you left out of that is he's also in the Hall of Fame. So ultimately, that would be the biggest trophy in your trophy case, is to get that final thing where you get to wear the jacket at the end of your career.
That might have been too obvious if he was wearing his yellow jacket there. And, hey, I got your put your jersey on something. But anyway, I thought it was very cool that he wore the jersey.
That was very cool. Yeah, but Alina, perfect toss. It's almost as if we planned it. If we were more organized, we'd actually try to stage that, but we were not. But we were lucky. So nice job, Alina.
That was coming in.
So Bill, while you're queuing that up, I just want to do another quick shout out to remind everybody about my new sponsor. Some people have been asking about that. Yes, Daniel Dovin Real Estate. He just joined up with me as a supporter of NorbCam. So if you guys, any of you or your parents are looking to sell or buy a home in the Seattle area, make sure you check out Dovin Real Estate. I have his I've got his contact in the description. You can see his number right there, 206-310-3362. Daniel at dovinrealestate.com and dovinrealestate.com. He's a local guy born and raised in Seattle, so he knows the market. What I love about him, he's a great supporter of my channel, loves the videos, loves the Seahawks. And if you set an appointment with him and go through a free consultation, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a I forgot the name. Who was our player of the year, defensive player of the year in 92?
You're talking about Cortez?
Cortez. How can I spy spacing? Cortez Kennedy, rookie card. We're gonna do a drawing for that for those of you who set up an appointment to talk to him. So go check it out. And they specialize in what they call their concierge services. It's like the white glove treatment. So they will take care of you from cleaning your home, staging it, making sure it's all ready to sell. And he's a great guy to go to. So check out Dovin Real Estate. The link is in the description. All right, let's go. Let's talk about the Rams now.
Here's the thing.
Third time around.
I love, we do the review. We're doing a little preview here as a combo thing, but I've never been more excited to show a little series of bonus stuff as I was putting this together, really for everybody and then also for you as well. I think this is going to be fun. So part of the history of what I want to talk about is people forget that before the Legion of Boom and Russell, that there was still football around here for quite some time. And it started with a guy by the name of Jack Patera. Now, I'm not going to go through a whole history, but let me tell you about one of the craziest, zaniest, awesome situations that I have ever come across. And I remember because I was there for this game, season tickets in the family. So years ago, we were in the lead against the New Orleans Saints. Okay, it's a 7-point lead. There it is right there.
Look at those
7-point
graphics.
lead with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Now, since 1984, this was back in 79. In 1984, they started keeping stats of when teams would do what's coming up next in games. And since 1984, what happens next has never in the history of football since 1984 happened. Seahawks up 7, home game, New Orleans Saints, and here's what Efren Herrera does. He does a middle onside kick. No team up 7 in the middle of the fourth quarter since 1984 has ever done that, ever. But here's what's crazier even yet, Norb. On that same drive, our guy, and this is what I love about Jack Patera. Okay, this is one of the plays in the series. It's the third down play. Jimmy Zorn sprinting out, the lefty. Incomplete pass to Steve Largent, gets deflected. So now it's fourth down. So now they have to do something. And again, what happens next is, to me, what makes Seahawks football great, the tradition great, the kingdom great, the wave, all those things that we remember, Norb.
Oh, and look at that bench right underneath the sign. See all those players sitting underneath the give them some slip, whatever it says.
Over here.
That's in one of the benches I got to sit in to watch that game back in 1981. Because the Little League teams got to sit on the bench there by the sideline to watch the game at ground level. But anyway, go ahead. I'm excited to see it. I don't remember this.
This turf was about 1/8 of an inch thick, and then this was concrete, and that's what was below this turf.
Yeah.
But anyway, Norb, 4 plays earlier, and I get jazzed because of special teams, right? 4 plays earlier, we just did an onside kick with Efren Herrera, who over a 2-year period was 7 of 11 on onside kicks and 3 of 4 going into this game. Get the onside kick. 3 downs out. Now we're going to punt back to them with about 3 minutes to go in the game. Is this
Herman Weaver?
Herman Thunderfoot Weaver.
Herman took a few 20 steps Weaver.
Yes, but at this time, he also hit the speaker in the kingdom. It's 4th down in our own end zone. He throws it to a guy by the name of Steve Rabel.
Holy catfish!
Holy catfish Rabel gets the ball. Let me cancel that right there. As he gets it, let's see if we get it coming in. We might not get it coming in. There we go. Here's the throw again. I mean, that is a perfectly thrown football from a punter in a situation where, again, we're up 7. We've just done an onside kick. We go 3 and out, and we throw it to Steve Rabel, who's our third quarterback on this team, or third receiver on this team, and he throws a dime. I mean, how do you not get excited about that?
That's what I loved about the old school Seahawks, man. We didn't win a lot, but, man, they were always exciting.
The Jack Patera era was great. I mean, I could pull 100 plays just from that alone. I won't because I'll have some other ones, but it's this next thing I'm most excited about because this is more about looking towards this week's game. Because as I was scouring, and I always look for things outside of just what we're putting together and the GameCast film to find something. And what I was able to come across, it kind of stunned me, the footage I was able to find and what it really kind of set up with. And basically what happened was I came across some footage that I was stunned to see. So let me break this down for you a little bit. Okay, this was 2nd and 10. The game, it's 7-7 in a futuristic game in the third quarter. What in the Russ to Metcalf is going on here? Because here's what happens in this game. Okay, as the snap takes place, you're going to see Russ drop back. Metcalf's going to run this drag across the field, and Norb's trying to decide. And this is just Norb guy. I mean, we don't throw into triple coverage number one, and we already know he doesn't circle up, right? So he doesn't get the pass. So what do? We got to go to the next play. What are we going to run here? Man, well, I don't know, 3rd and 10. What in the Russ is going on here, right? He gets back. He's going to make the play. He's got plenty of guys to throw to, but instead he's just going to sit there. I mean, how long are you going to sit there, Norb, in his mind, right? Guys are open, coming across, make the throw. Instead, you sit too long, you get drilled. Not good. So now let's get to the end of the game. Wilson puts us in a great position, right? We're in a great position here. But I'm telling you, what in the Russ to Metcalf is going on? Because we got Lockett's going to streak. Look at how much time's left in the game. Okay, we're getting down to the end here, 13 seconds. Who calls a play action pass when you know that it's 12 seconds left in the game?
And in my defense, I was taking calls from the audience, and this guy recommended play action, and I even second guessed it, but I was following my coach's orders.
Nor, here's the deal. I used to tell players all the time, when you point the finger at someone else, you're pointing 3 back at yourself, right? So we can't. We accept the blame. We take the blame. We deflect responsibility. We accept responsibility, and then we tell hey, that was my fault. Even if quarterback throws it into the ground, receiver drops it. Hey, my bad. But you you ran a bootleg here. Man, brutal. Well, the good news is, on the next play.
Yeah, pull the play up.
Pull the play up. So, yeah, on the last play, you got sacked. So now there's 8 seconds left. Man, what should he call? I mean, you get like 3 minutes to call the plays, apparently. It took me 25 minutes to break this 4 plays down. Again, what in the play action pass is happening here with 7 seconds? I mean, who you fooling, Norb? Right? Who you fooling?
That's what I was saying.
And then, of course, who are we going to throw to? Well, let's throw it to Metcalf down on the sideline. Maybe he'll circle up. Hey, got his hands up, caught it inbound.
That was a great pass and a great catch, by the way.
Okay, but now there's 2 seconds left. Now, don't you dare blame the 7-year-old that was helping you with this play, or the 15-year-old, or the 22-year-old, or whoever. Bottom line is, only one person has the joystick. Now, look at this. I mean, this is unreal. Okay, I mean, Norb, can you not tell that the wind in Seahawks Stadium, everybody knows that the wind comes off Puget Sound.
Yeah, but the wind is going to the right at 2 miles an hour. The wind was not even a factor.
It's right up here in this area, and I know that the wind comes in, circles around, and loops around the Hawk's Nest and goes back this way. Worst place you can kick it here is down the middle. You have to aim to the right. Don't you remember a few years back the shank left that we had? Yeah. Here's what happens. Just watch. I mean, and I even heard, here's what drove me nuts, Norb. The person who was helping you, your special teams coordinator, said, move it to the right. You move a little bit to the right. And then someone chats in, the kid didn't know what he's talking about. And you blame the kid. And I'm like, no. Norb should have put the dang arrow over here. He'd have made the kick. Instead, our perfect kicker, look at right here. This sums it all up. It's brutal.
That better not happen.
Look at that.
Oh my God, I did not see that coming.
The good news is I've got some things that are going to get you.
The good news is that's not reality. So, but in my defense, it is hard to control that little thing. When you're doing the little stick thing, it's like a thing like.
No.
Anyway, I'm learning, but yeah, I'm hoping that nothing like that happens in the real game. That's hilarious, man. Thank you for that breakdown.
It's great that everybody points the finger like they do in the real world, right? Like, you're blaming the kid in the game, and then you're blaming the kid on the NorbCam on the coach's corner, man. I feel bad for the guy, but he's probably
I didn't blame him for the missed field goal. That was all me. I took the hit for that.
For those people who don't watch it, it's funny how he does it. I love that you bring in other people to help call. You have coordinators and. Yeah, but I'm going to do a separate coach's corner. That's just going to be a breakdown of your game.
Hey, I would love that, man. I tell you, I've learned so much from you and playing Madden that I feel like I know the Seahawks offense like tenfold from what I did before the season started.
So does every kid and dad that wanted to bring me a play back when I was coaching. I found this play on Madden. It worked great. I'm like, awesome. There's going to be an opening at the local high school. You should apply. All right, so here we go. So
all right.
Let's talk about the future.
Real football now. Okay, bring the play up. There we go.
Yeah, everybody needs a little break in life, right? So here's the deal. When this game was taking place, everybody remembers the Kurt Warner story, not the old Seahawks Kurt Warner, but the more recent Hall of Famer that basically was working in as a stalker in the shopping market, and then all of a sudden he gets the call, and then he's showing up, and all of a sudden he's playing for the Rams, and then he's a Hall of Famer. Well, anytime a quarterback comes not off the bench, but comes out of nowhere from a standpoint of this guy was on his LinkedIn pages, the last few weeks looking for jobs and saying that he does, advises wealth management or some other thing. And all of a sudden this week he changes his LinkedIn to starting quarterback in the NFL, starting for the Rams. I thought, this is going to be a cakewalk for the Cardinals. Like, this is what we want. I was really hoping that this was going to be our guy coming in this week. Now I'm really hoping Goff gets better. Because if Goff's better, they have to play him. I don't think he's going to be based on what I'm hearing. And here's why. And I'm going to do a series of plays here. This is Wolford's first play of the game. His first pass, His first pass of the game. Again, this is a no-brainer. Should see a linebacker sitting in the middle on a guy who's running an easy inside route. Easy pickings. Right? So his first pass of the game that they made very simple for him. A lot of short, easy route. I mean, look at, other than a clear out, every route is short. Let's make it easy for him, and that's the first play of the game. So then what happens next? Well, let's come back and make something a little bit easier for him. We're just going to let him make a simple read again. So they come right back, and they show a short route. Now, this series of plays is all first quarter, early second quarter. So it's them trying to figure out what he's going to do, and what I'm going to be showing you is essentially what they end up doing, really kind of the whole game, with a quarterback that I didn't know much about until I was able to watch the cast here. So now his first completion is a simple one. I'm not here to show you what a great passer this guy is. It's the next series of plays that has me pretty dang nervous about what this kid can do.
I think I know where you're going. I think I know where you're going with this.
Fun to watch. He's fun to watch. He is a heck of an athlete, and he can throw the ball well enough. And because of what he does, he reminds me of a certain number 3 in terms of how they play him, how to utilize him, the decisions he makes. He's not a game manager. And they make sure he's not a game manager, and I'll show you here in a second. So here, drop back, feels the pressure. Okay, this is the first time I see him run. Like, okay, he's pretty decent, got out of bounds. A lot of guys could do that. Not as big of a deal. But then all of a sudden, we start getting to stuff where I'm starting to see, and again, this is both, I have mixed up first, second quarter plays back and forth here because I just want to get a series of what he does. This is a designed play for your quarterback. Okay, now again, your starting quarterback is out, and you're running a designed play to keep the ball. And I mean, he is, boom, keeping the ball, and these guys are, okay, they're getting pretty jazzed. Now he's run the ball a couple times.
It's pretty quick.
Well, let's see what comes up here, right? Same thing. Here we go. Play action. Nope. I mean, that is keeper all the way. And the reason why I can tell it's keeper all the way is how quickly he tucks the ball away. Yes, guys are going to tuck the ball away no matter what. But on a true read option, I'm going to come to you for a second for people that want to learn a little of the hardcore stuff. You always teach far hit pocket, meaning when you hand the football off to anybody, you always are reaching for their far hip pocket to put the football in, because as they run by you, and whether it's a one-arm handoff or a two-handed, turn the ball into their stomach handoff, you reach for the far hip pocket because as the running back is running by you, that's going to place the ball up and in to where their arms are open. And they always talk, have a nice open breadbasket. We always talk the difference between a shark and a minnow. A minnow has their arms like this and also like their mouth. They drop the rock, they fumble it. the shark comes in like this. So running backs have good wide open here, quarterback far hip pocket. Well, when you see that the quarterback here is not putting the ball at the far hip pocket, that tells you, see, it's right near. Usually you would be able to see the ball peeking through there. That tells you right away this is quarterback. Even though everything else looks like play design, could be either way, except for right here. He's coming outside to make the block instead of in here to make a block somewhere. And we're getting a runoff on this side. So now quarterback, yeah, there's another keeper. Then we go through here. Oh, this is the, here we go. Here we go. There, you can see it again. This is a design keeper all the way. But here's what's happening as the game's going on, and they're doing this. Look at this defense. And this is where, again, for us, Norb, as Seahawks, I don't want us to sit back in that basic vanilla 4-3 cover 2 defense. At the same time, when teams are over-aggressive, which I love the way we've played lately, and if we're going to go one way or the other, I'd rather us play over-aggressive. But when you have a quarterback that can run the option, the 2 years we went to the Super Bowl, Russ was lethal at keeping the ball. Those are the things he was doing, right? Keeping the ball way more. We've discussed that. Well, look at this. These guys are so caught in the wash. There is nowhere for them to go, and it is keeper all the way. And now it's just get the ball. But look at that. And we're showing from the end zone view. Again, game. The guy wants to show that I can play. By this time he's already rushed. He had six rushes for 56 yards. Okay, so I'm showing you most of them. But he also had some other scramble things where he's able to throw the ball because now teams don't know what to do. If I'm a linebacker, do I come up or do I stay on my DB or do I stay on my receiver? If I'm a DN, do I contain? Do I come? I mean, it changes the landscape of how you play the game. But just like I said about Russ, you got to show a little bit of that extra spirit. Look at this. I mean, he doesn't have to cut it up. Most quarterbacks are going to slide or go outside. No, he's going to cut it up and run guys over. That's
the benefit of where you're not the $100 million quarterback and you're just a guy trying to get a starting job somewhere.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. And I mean, he's a guy. Shoot, I would love to see him end up here. So this is one of the. I'll show you a couple of other things here. So again, now what I liked is as the game went on, you could just see him getting relaxed. So again, if I'm a coach and I'm looking from a psychological standpoint, which I know Carroll and his staff do, that's what I love about our team is that it's not just the X's and O's. I mean, you have to know the personalities of these guys and what are they going through and what are they experiencing. Early on, the plays were kind of just in a rhythm. Then as the game went along, and this is a little bit later in the game now, the other plays were early. The plays here, Norb, were plays that were taking a little bit longer. He's kind of looking, checking things out. And then in the fourth quarter, they went to a quick hurry-up offense. So anybody who goes and just looks at the highlights of the games, you wouldn't know that. You just see play after play after play, and that's what it's hard. You can't tell the rhythm of a play, right? Just like teams that, people watch us on these, game films you can get later in the week. They go, oh, Seattle just runs regular plays. No one would think, gosh, Russell Wilson always snaps the ball with 1 second to go. I bet the fans of Seattle will get frustrated with that. You would have no idea that all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, man, they are going fast tempo, and he is just in a rhythm. He's checking plays, calling plays, running the ball, throwing the ball, and they just, they didn't run away with the game, but they ran away with it enough that they were flat out dominating at that point. So here, based on again the mobility,
pull the play up there.
Sorry, no. So the mobility you have here is he's back on a deep drop. Now these guys are cleared out, and as soon as he feels pressure, boom, he just gets through there. Elusive, gets the yardage, makes something happen. So he's a guy that now we're going to look at just a couple passes here. Last run. And this is what I like. This is the tough thing about this last run. So this is like the offense I ran my last 2 years as a coach. And people would see this and they go, oh, let's do simple read option. No. Okay, what this is a triplicate type of a play, meaning two weeks ago I drew up a tic-tac-toe board, meaning when teams go to make a pass, you have a tic-tac-toe and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you try to get guys into those areas to throw the ball. And how many players, how many receivers can you get into those areas? Well, when you run this type of an offense here, what you're trying to do is you're trying to have them see threats in 3 areas. Well, he just faked a run to the right. So these guys over here have to respect the run to the right. Then after that fake run to the right, he faked to his running back to the left. So somebody had to respect that, which is this guy. Then he drops back, which means pass can go anywhere. So you've threatened the right, you've threatened the left, and now he's got eyeballs that can look anywhere down the middle of the field. That is a very, very tough offense to defend when you only have 2 days to prepare for it. This isn't Jared Goff, right? We've got plenty of film on Goff. Drop back, throw a few balls, maybe run out and throw the ball to nobody and we get an interception. This is sitting back there, great pocket. The reason he gets the great pocket is because guys are having to respect this out here. Look at, he has to go out there. He has to be frozen there. And now he's got time to make a nice, easy pass. So these are the type of plays that I just have 2 here. This isn't actually 3. There's just 2 plays left. So as you see here, what things are setting up now is they don't know whether to rush or pass. This is where he starts kind of clearing out the game. You know, we're just going to win the game now. Now they're trusting in him. He's getting nice protection because they can't rush everybody. Because if they do, he's getting out of there. And now he throws this just beautiful ball down the sideline. And Norb, you know what I'm going to say about this catch, so I'm just going to let it go. You tell me what about this receiver he does. If you could tell.
Well, it's hard to tell, but he looks like he goes up high and catches it with the point of the nose of the ball.
Yep, circles up, high point catch. So even though I'm focusing, again, when we do these, I try to just kind of focus on the 1 or 2 main things. They have a quarterback right now that they are amped about. I mean, their post-game stuff was, I mean, beyond amped what they were doing. It was unreal because of this type of stuff that he was doing the last few plays of the game. I mean, this is just a straight drop, and now his confidence is such that he doesn't need to throw these short ball. He's seeing that he can throw a wide open deep ball to a guy who, again, does the same thing. Again, he's looking at it, sees it, nice throw. One of the best circle up I've ever seen, Norb, and I'm not joking, by a guy who's not a true receiver. And by the circle up, everybody knows what I'm talking about who watched, where I talk about turning your hands over. Most guys would have the right arm down and the left hand up. Whoever their wide receiver coach is doing a phenomenal job because all these guys turn the hands over and save the ball flight. If you're new, that may seem like, well, why is that a big deal? If he catches the ball, he catches the ball. No. If he catches the ball this way, it means he catches the ball this way when he's in traffic. And we just saw the other guy do it. So those are little things that in a close ball game, if it's close, can really get to us. And I said too, this is the last one I meant to show, which is just them running a nice bootleg play. Where, I mean, think about what I've just shown you in a sequence of about 7 plays, right? One sequence was him running the ball, so we know escape mobility. One was him throwing deep down the left and the right sideline, so threatening the deep ball. And now, because they are doing those, here's the bootleg, and this kind of seals the deal for them. But what I love about it, Norb, is a guy who wants to play in the NFL, this is a clinic on how to run a bootleg. Okay, play action, but we talk about coming around the crown, and most veteran quarterbacks, they no longer come forward to make the pass. And again, our rule when we teach guys to throw the ball is come to run and throw it as if you're going to make a lead block for the guy you're throwing to. We don't want you to do that, but that guarantees your shoulders are coming downhill. Most quarterbacks, when they see a guy coming in their face, and you can see what this guy does right here, this outside backer, he doesn't know if he should attack him or not, right? I'm back. Do I come up? Do I go back? Do I come up? But when he decides to go, they say, hey, if you make the decision to go, would see this and start drifting this way, which is a tough throw to make, especially a right-hand quarterback going to his right. He runs right into that guy, meaning this quarterback is a tough dude. Like, I can't stand the Rams because they're in our division. I'm becoming a fan of this quarterback, though. Oh. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. So those are the things, and I'm not showing the defense because we went over it a few shows ago, and I think everybody knows that they are a top, they're a top-rated defense. They're a Super Bowl caliber defense. If you're in the top 7, top 5, you're Super Bowl caliber defense. We're a Super Bowl caliber defense. Their offense is suspect, I think, with Goff. It can be suspect here. But again, McVay, this is where McVay is very, very good, right? He built the offense this week around his quarterback, knowing his quarterback needs to do something, get him going, and maybe we get him going. Didn't bother him with interception. He's tough. Let's let him run the ball and get hit a couple times. Where most guys say, don't let our punter get hit, kicker get hit, quarterback get hit. They were making him get hit to hey, you're no longer on LinkedIn, buddy. You're in the NFL. And then look what he did. And they're 10-6. So it's not like, we're facing some team that's that bad and they know us just like we know them. So I still love our chances because I think we're better than them in all three phases, but not if we give up big plays.
So bottom line, if you had to choose, you would choose Goff versus this guy.
Up until kickoff of that game, I would have said, give us Wolford. Give us a guy who's just off the streets, basically. After the game, when I saw this, I was like, please, heel Goff, let him play. Much rather play. As a coach, two things I hated. On offense, I hated playing a defense that blitzed all the time, that disguised it. They didn't stand in the hole, but blitz constantly. And then on the defensive side, anytime we had to face a quarterback, they could scramble. Because you have to respect that. So do you spy him? Do we put an Adams on him, but then we're taking Adams kind of out of his game a little bit? Maybe we do. Like, hey, let's stop this guy from running around. Like Adams, every play, you're going to line up in that linebacker level and either get on the line and come off the edge, blitz through the hole, but you're going to shut him down. Okay, fine. Let's make him prove he can throw it against us.
And let's hope that Adams is available to play on Saturdays, since we don't really know for sure yet the status of his health. So, knock on wood, hopefully he's good to go on Saturday. All right, so shall we take some calls?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's go to Nick LeBeau, one of our regulars here on the channel and on Discord. Nick, you're on.
Hey, hold on. Nick, hold on. I have to get myself ready because I know you bring it when you ask your questions. So I got to you're up for this one.
Thank you. And Norb, first off, congrats on the sponsorship. And Coach Marsh, that's an awesome background you got. And going into my question, what would be your biggest thing or what do you think? Hold on.
Don't worry. Just catch your breath, buddy. I know it's sometimes nerve-wracking, but you're a great follower of the program. So just catch your breath and think of your question and come right at it.
Yeah, so how do you come back? Like in the third quarter, I believe we only had like 3 yards offensively passing, I believe, if that's the correct stat.
Total yards.
7 total yards. We were negative yardage for a while there.
Yeah. But having a bad third quarter offensively like we did, how do you, as a coach, rally your team to come back and pull out the win in the fourth quarter?
So, hey, awesome question. I love questions that set me up to actually feel like I'm going back to my coaching days, because there's only 3 times that you can really, truly make adjustments in a game. And I'm talking like really make adjustments. Halftime is your biggest one, and then between the first and second quarter and between the third and fourth quarter. And why that is because players there's just a much more relaxed mentality, and you have time to communicate to coaches and get some extra, even though it's just a very small increment of extra time. Typically, you're getting position coaches talking to position players. Then the coordinator talks to the entire, offense or defense, whoever's out on the field at the time. And then head coach might come over and give a little bit bigger rah-rah. That's usually kind of like how your halftime breaks down. Position, coordinator, head coach come in, then off you go. So oftentimes, I feel like, on either side of the ball, whoever's out there, it's hard in the middle of the course of series. Yes, they come off to the sideline, they look at the iPads, they're talking. But you really don't always have all those guys together because coaches are having to talk and do their stuff. But during those breaks are when you do things. And I think that's where we do an exceptional job is we get to the end of the third quarter and coaches are just itching. I remember so many times where I could just sense that we're just in a funk, like 2 drives, 3 drives, maybe 4 drives, which is you're about 12 to 15 drives a game on both sides of the ball. So you're hoping that you're going to make something happen in those 12 offensive drives or those 12 to 15 defensive drives. So you're just itching when things aren't going well. Get us to the end of the third quarter. You're watching the clock. And then when guys come over, you collectively break things down. They're settled. Versus during a regular timeout in a game, quarterback goes over and gets the play, but everybody else is out there, right? So a lot more communication takes place, and that's when you usually see those adjustments. And that's why I think we do things. That's when a coach, even for myself, that's when I would make a major change that I wouldn't think about in the middle of the third quarter. Like, shoot, I didn't think about doing any hard counts, or man, I didn't think about, we should have gone hurry up offense. Okay, we're going to do that on this first offensive drive or second offensive drive of the fourth quarter. Just know we're going fast paced. So that's, I think, why we do that exceptionally well, why we're a great fourth quarter team. 3 out of our 4 drives resulted in scores.
Yeah.
Touchdowns.
No,
Touchdowns,
yes.
not field goals.
Right. Great question by Nick. Let's go to another regular of the show here, Cameron Hughes. Cameron, you got a question for Coach Marsh? Cameron Hughes, you there? Cameron? Okay, we'll try another. Let's go to Dynamic Champ. Dynamic Champ, you're on with Coach Marsh. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Do you you think that the Seahawks defense will be able to keep the Rams offense to not score a touchdown with the outcome of Jamal Adams, that he'll probably be able to play, but probably not?
Yeah, I think either way, as long as I see us playing aggressive early on, I think we're going to be just fine. I mean, in all actuality, when I bring stuff up, it's not from hey, I want to scare you with what these guys do. It's just more from hey, here's one or two things I want you as fans to look for. So for me, I'm going to really, after I've watched and studied their game plan from last week, I'm going to look to see, are we containing their quarterback? Even on broken plays, are we making sure that somebody has the leverage on him and making sure we know where he is all the time and forcing him to throw the deep ball? Defensively, are we taking care of Aaron Donald? Right? Are we able to move the ball? So yeah, I think we're going to be able to handle them defensively. I think we'll be just fine. But again, these guys were just in the Super Bowl a few years back. They've got a great head coach. They've got this quarterback that guys rally around a quarterback that the kind of the underdog guy. They're 10-6. So again, it's not like and we've been teams. It's not like we've been spectacular and crushing teams. Right? A lot of close games for us, just like with a lot of teams. We could be 12-4, or we could be 8-6. A lot of teams are like that. So there's no really bad teams that are in the playoffs. We keep saying that, right? You get to the playoffs, you're doing something right.
Yep. No, good question.
He looked more like Kyler Murray than Kyler Murray did. And I know Kyler Murray got hurt. But in a game where I was expecting, you think Kyler Murray would be doing all his stuff before he was hurt. Really, it was Wolford that was the guy who was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, kind of playing with nothing to lose. So, that's kind of the thing. And hopefully
and
now we got
rebounded
some
from
tape
the interception. It was
right.
As just a coach from looking at it neutrally, really neat to see a guy throw an interception down close to the end zone on his very first pass and come right back and play well and see their team excited for him. Again, one of those guys that you say you love watching him play, you just don't want to play against him. So I want to crush him this week, right? Take care of him this week. But a neat story, definitely a neat story. But he doesn't have to be a Cinderella story after this week.
Another wrinkle to all that is that they have Cam Akers coming back, who they didn't have when they played us last time when they lost. And I believe Cooper Kupp was not playing in that game either, and he will most likely be available too. So they're getting a couple weapons back that they didn't have the last time we did defeat them. So just another thing to keep in mind.
That's a great piece of information. Great piece of information, though, because I think as fans, we just, I don't want to say we just show up on Sundays, but that's what we do, right? I mean, it's not our obligation to figure out who's all playing, starting, everything else. But as the playoffs come, or if you're really wanting to elevate yourself as a fan, pay attention to the injury reports, because who comes back and who isn't playing and those type of things, it makes a huge difference. So when one team loses one or two star players, another team's gaining 4 or 5 players back, teams are different every single week based on that. And that is proven based on our last 6 to 8, 6 weeks. When we, especially when we got Adams back. I mean, man, oh man, did we change the team? We got Adams, right?
Right. So, and usually we don't want their starters in, but in this case, you want the starting quarterback back in there. The exception to the rule.
Yeah, I think Goff. I mean, again, good, decent player, but I think he's a middle to lower tier quarterback. He's a game manager. He's a game manager that has never really impressed me. Good guy, but not like this guy. And again, one play, maybe he's a 1-game wonder. That's what I hope he is, a 1-game wonder that, does his thing.
All right, that's good question. Let's go to another call. His name is Major Horn Fan 1234. I don't know if that means he's a Rams fan, but let's find out. Major Horn Fan 1234.
Hey Norb, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Are you a Seahawks fan or are you a Rams fan?
I'm the Seahawks fan.
You are? Okay, all right. I wasn't sure if the Major Horn thing had to do with the horns of the Ram. I just want to make sure. All right. So you got a question for Coach Marsh? What's on your mind?
Okay, Coach Martin, my name is Major Horn. As you know, I'm a Seahawks fan, but
yeah, I love it.
What if the chance is what if the Seahawks can try to make the Super Bowl, but how can Seattle can beat the Rams by leading by 60 or or 40 or 50 points. Like, what on your mind could it be that Seattle could win this game?
So if they're able to get Steph Curry to play for us, we will beat them by 60. But if Steph Curry's not available, I'm going to say that, I think we have a chance to beat them in the, probably the 14 to 21 point range. I honestly think that's, if we play well and we play the way we're, because of the way we're trending. Again, the Rams, you look at the last handful of games for them, not, haven't been playing well, not a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of confidence. They gave the Jets their first, win of the year. Our biggest thing is I want to make sure that we don't mess up by making mental mistakes. For instance, and this kind of speaks to how we can beat them by a lot. If I could have just a picture-in-picture in the game that I could ask the television crew to cover, I would want to have DK and Ramsey's battle every play. I would want an isolated camera on those two all game long to make sure that DK is not letting Ramsey get in his head, because Ramsey's going to do everything he can to get on. Now, did Metcalf, beat him up a little bit last time and throw him right? Yeah, of course. But we don't see the other, 75 to 80% of the plays where DK couldn't get open and DK's getting frustrated and all this. So that some of that stews from, DK got frustrated, manhandled him. But why did he have to manhandle him? Because he was getting frustrated. So, as long as we don't blow up, get some dumb 15-yard penalty, those type of things. Again, I think we're gonna handle him just fine. But I respect them enough and have seen enough to go, let's beat them and not put ourselves in a position where we're beating ourselves. And now we're late in the fourth quarter, needing Russ to pull his magic. We can only ask that of Russ so many times.
But I wouldn't mind if Seattle won by 40 or 60 points. I would enjoy that thoroughly. But
and I only brought up Steph Curry because I don't know if any of you saw this. He made it was either 105 or 106 consecutive 3-pointers in a practice, and it was on film. They started filming it at number 5 or number 6. And literally, while I was watching a show where they were actually doing their report. I don't know if we're allowed to say the names of the shows that we watch and stuff. But in the corner, it shows Steph Curry. That's what made me think of the picture-in-picture. It shows him in practice drilling the 3-pointers. I know this is a Seahawks channel, but man, when you see something that spectacular in athletics, I don't know that I've ever seen a feat that could match that. I mean, 105, it was either 105 or 106 in a row.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, we got time for a couple more questions here. We'll go to Calderon. Calderon,
and I don't want to say I'm not going to say that our kicker is just as whatever, because I don't want to jinx him. So just know that I love that our kicker kicks the way he does, as long as Norb's not telling him where the wind's going.
like I said in the video, I said this isn't Jason Myers, this is Norb Myers in that Madden simulation. All right, so we got Calderon on the line. Are you there, Calderon?
So John Wolford, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wolford, the quarterback?
So that, he's only this is going to be his first playoff game. Do you think the Rams coach will rely on the running game?
No. I think when you have a quarterback that has those type of unique abilities, again, you're traveling on the road, you're facing a team that got the best of you last time. You have to unleash that kid. You have to let him play and let him do his thing. If you kind of clamp him down and all of a sudden then you need him later in the game, that's not going to help. I think they're going to come out and let him scramble, have some design running plays. They're going to force Seattle. So let me back up a little bit. The first quarter, when I talked about those first quarter to second quarter adjustments, typically coaches will come out in the first quarter and try to set the plate, set the table, set things up ready to go. So that's why you see some things in the first quarter that oftentimes you'll question, why did we do that? Because you're setting things up for later. Well, what I'm going to be looking for in the first quarter is, do they throw a deep pass to make us respect the deep ball? Do they run some sort of a bootleg to make us respect the edges of the bootleg? Do they run some sort of a play action? Do they run a designed quarterback keeper, whether it's the play where it's just getting it and running, or where it's some sort of an RPO or run pass option where he fakes the run and then he keeps the ball? So I'm going to be looking for those things. If I don't see those, then I think we're absolutely going to win. But I know that McVay is going to really not open things up. So when I say open things up, that's throwing the ball a bunch. But open things to the point where let's run 7 different types of plays so that Seattle doesn't know what's coming, and then we'll figure out which 2 or 3 are going to be the scheme we're going with the rest of the game, based on how well those turn out, based on the defenses we see in those. That's the fun part about being a coordinator and a coach, is running a play that means nothing in the first quarter, but it means everything because of what it's going to mean later in the game. when you see the defense you hope they ran. Or conversely, hey, we got to burn that play because we didn't know they were going to blitz off the edges when we ran a sprint out or whatever it is. So.
Yeah. All right. Good question. We've got time for one more. Cameron Hughes says he's got his mic fixed, so we're going to bring Cameron Hughes on for the, I believe, last question here. So, Cameron, what's your question for Coach Marsh? Cameron? Uh-oh. Cameron Hughes was supposed to have had his mic fixed, but maybe he doesn't. Cameron Hughes. Hello, Cameron.
Yep, not hearing him.
Nope, apparently the microphone is not fixed.
You can throw his question into the super chat.
You can throw it into the chat. All right, well, let's see. Let's see if there's one more we can grab in here. If we missed anybody. I think we got almost everybody. I think we tried to get Arav last time and we didn't connect. Let's see if he's there this time. Arav, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Okay, Arav's in there. Okay, so I think you got the last question. Arav, what's on your mind? What you got for Coach Marsh?
So do you think DK will be able to get those deep ball receptions he used to get like earlier on in the season, but like at the end he could calm down? Do you think he'll be able to like get those in the playoffs?
Now, when you're saying get those, are you saying will he be able to catch them or will he be having them thrown to him?
Catch them.
Yeah, I do, and here's why. In the last 2 games, because if you've been watching, I kind of gave DK a hard time a few weeks ago over the way he was catching the ball, just the fundamentals of how he was catching the ball. The last few games, I've actually seen him, and again, when I say circling up, everybody has a little bit different terms, but essentially the concept of catching the ball with your hands, you hear it all the time. Catch it with your hands, save the ball flight. If you notice the last few games, especially on slant routes or just, 7 to 10 yard, where it's either a curl or a hitch, where basically the receiver's just turning around, he's bringing his hands up and he's catching. He's not body catching. Right? Or as we call it, the tray of inopportunity. Circle of opportunity, the tray of inopportunity, right? So he's doing that. So I think now with the deeper balls, he's going to start going up and going after them. And, he has to be a physical presence. If he's going to accept the accolades of breaking Largent's records and all those things, when I was looking at the film, somebody put together a great tribute video of Metcalf and Largent, this kind of back-and-back set of plays. When you see Largent diving for a ball, I mean, his body is parallel to the ground, and he is giving his whole body up on a hard turf and catching it with everything he has. Metcalf is almost there. When he gets to that spot where he is just all in, bodied in, high point and everything else, and again, that Largent Hall of Famer later in his career, of course he's doing that. Metcalf learns to do that, he's going to be spectacular. So yeah, I think he's going to make those catches, and we have to throw those to him a little bit more to get teams to respect us too, right? And Metcalf will get frustrated. He won't be mad if he doesn't catch the ball. He will be upset if he can run a blazing 4.140, we call it a running 40 time, meaning as he's running, if your time is 40 at 40 yards with a running start, he's in that 3.9 to 4.1 category, then we better throw it to him a couple times just to give him a shot at it. Because otherwise we're going to look back and go, if it woulda, shoulda, coulda, as they say. Like, we should have thrown to him. We could have thrown to him. Like, we can't have if it woulda, shoulda, couldas.
All right, so
maybe that'll be the name of my next show. If it woulda, coulda, shoulda show.
That'd be a very disappointing show if it's all about if I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Right. Cameron couldn't say his question, so his question in the text or the chat is, here's my question. Do you prefer man or zone coverage? What are the pros and cons to both coverages? And what would you run with the personnel the Seahawks have currently? That's a lot in one question, but I guess maybe apply it to this game.
Yeah, I'm replying to this game right here. Very easy. I would run man-to-man because I'd be blitzing the heck out of this guy. Because I think we're a good blitzing team right now, and the way our front four plays, we have it schemed up really well. And I actually talked about this last week, where sometimes when you're blitzing, it doesn't mean all 4 front guys are rushing to the spot where they're trying to get back to the quarterback. Sometimes you have 1 or 2 that look like they're rushing, but what they're really trying to do is take on a 2-man, take on 2 guys and be double teamed and just kind of hold their ground and make sure if they have to move lateral and make a play, they'll do it while the other guys are blitzing through there. When we play that way, I love it. But if you're going to blitz guys and there's going to be 3, 4, and 5 receiver sets, it means guys are on an island one-on-one. They have to be able to cover one-on-one, and then you have your free safety that's back there playing. So I would always, I'm always going to say let's blitz and play aggressively, because if we're going to lose, I don't want it to be because we've sat in that prevent defense and let them pick us apart. Okay, again, you have to have the right personnel, and we bring up Legion of Boom around here quite often because they were so great. But they could get into those zone defenses because of the guys they had, and then go into a man because Richard Sherman could play so well and other things like that. but they had guys like, Earl Thomas was just, a Hall of Famer that could do things. You could bring Cam down there, all those type of stuff. So man to man, I'd be blitzing the heck out of them. They both have their advantages and they both have their major disadvantages. It's all about what offense are you facing.
All right, great question. We're going to go to one final one, and this is actually from Dominic B 2020. He's got a Washington football team logo actually as his screen image here. So let's see if he's there and see what his question is. Dominic, you're on with NorbCam and Coach Marsh.
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Now, hold on a second. I think Coach Marsh, we're having a little bit
I'm still here.
Oh,
yeah,
you're still there. A little visual disconnect there, but we can hear you though. So
I'm texting Russ right now, so I didn't want to be able to see that.
All right. What's your question, Dominic? What you got?
So Coach, what do you think the Seahawks defense can do? Do you think they can hang on to their team so that way Seattle can still advance to the division? Do you think they can have a chance, Coach?
So, no, I missed the first part of his question. Can you repeat just as?
Oh yeah,
I'll be taking calls off the air as they say a little bit here, so I'll be non-video for the remainder of the show.
All right. So I think your question is: do you think we can advance to the divisional round? Essentially, was that your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think and I don't speak in terms of just getting to the NFC Championship. I think to me, we are a Super Bowl contending team that needs to be in the Super Bowl, and then once you're there, you hope you win it. So I don't stop at, with this year's team. I think this year's team, a few weeks back, I said I would be very happy if we made it to the division, if we made it to the NFC Championship. I've changed my tune on that based on how we've been playing and based on how we're entering the playoffs. I think we have a great shot at it. But I believe that we can also make it there. And so if we don't make it there, it's one thing to believe you have it and you hope you make it, all those things. It's one thing to just say, yeah, we need to make it there. I think this team needs to make it to the Super Bowl at this point for them to feel successful because of how we finished. I think they will be very bummed with anything other than going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Great question. Well, I think that does it for the questions, everybody. I do have a super chat from Luke Neese. Says, been watching you since the 2013 NFC Championship against the 49ers. Love your vids. Keep it up. Also, your predictions against the Rams. We're going to get into that on the roundtable tomorrow. But I think I share Coach Marsh's optimistic sense that I believe Seattle will win this game. We got to believe in it, right? And it's going to be close, but I believe Seattle will find a way to pull it off in a very nail-biting, typical fashion. So I'll reveal my score tomorrow, but you have to tune in to the roundtable to join us and the fellas from the roundtable to find out what that's going to be. So I'm going to, before I have you, Coach Marsh, sign off here, I just want to recognize one more time that, as you may have noticed up above, I do have a new sponsor of the show, Dovin Real Estate. Daniel Dovin, who has been kind enough to support my channel and partner up on this remaining bit of the season here. So I just wanted to, just recognize him and let everybody know that if you are in the market for buying a house or selling a house here in the Seattle area, contact Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. His number there is on the screen, 206-310-3362. Daniel at dovinrealestate.com, and dovinrealestate.com is his website. If you check out the description, there's a link there that if you set up a free consultation, you will be entered in for a drawing to win a rookie card of Cortez Kennedy. So there will be a drawing for that if you'll be entered if you set up an appointment and talk to my friend there, Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. So that's it. I guess we won't get to see your face on the sign-off, Coach Marsh, but we can still hear your lovely voice. So you've got the last word. Coach Marsh, how do you want to finish this Coach's Corner?
Hey, like always, I just want everybody to just live their life one play at a time and just be excited and bring that great spirit as we head into this game this weekend. Just have a lot of fun and enjoy it.
All right.
And thanks for a great evening.
All right. Thank you. And Coach Marsh, I always appreciate you being on here, giving us dissecting plays of the previous game against the 49ers, looking ahead at the Rams, and then a bonus breakdown of my awesome Madden play. That was great. We might have to team up in some way on a Madden game ourselves and have you be my offensive coordinator, and maybe I'll actually win some games that way. That would be a blast. But that's for a future segment. All right, so. Again, thank you to everybody for watching today, everyone who chatted in the Super Chat. Again, thanks to my sponsor, Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. And please tune in for the rest of the videos that we got going this week. We got the roundtable tomorrow. I'm going to have I think we might be doing an Ask Norb segment on Thursday. And then I'm doing a Behind Enemy Lines with an LA Rams YouTuber on Friday. Then, of course, the actual game with my dad, Kuya Burt, will be live streaming that one at 1:40 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday. So that's it, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we will talk to you guys all later. Thank you so much for being here. And smash that video, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, have a great week and go Hawks.